health in check. So do what we did and over 23,000 others have done and call Awaken 180 Weight Loss, 844-346-1800.
When you're thinking about your next haircut, use your head. Head to any of the 120
Sports Hub headlines.
Well, Game 1 of the Joe Sacco era went well for the Bruins as they scored a 1-0 win over the Utah Hockey Club at TD Garden. Elias Lindholm's power play goal in the second period was the difference, and Jonas Korpisalo was solid in net, making 21 saves for his second shutout of the season. The win also snapped the 3-game losing streak for the Bruins. They'll be in Detroit tomorrow night. As for the Celtics, they had an audience with President Joe Biden yesterday at the White House as they held a final celebration for their NBA championship.
Together, you guys built one of the deepest teams of all time. Incredible players led by Jason and Jalen and Derek and Drew. Big Al. I know it wasn't easy. You came close more than once, but you put in the work. You clocked one of the greatest seasons ever. 64 wins, the best record in the league last year.
Tonight it's back to work as they continue NBA Cup play against the Washington Wizards in D.C. Everyone except for Kristaps Porzingis is healthy. Randy and Max had the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Patriots are missing Dietrich Wise and fellow defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy for a second straight practice yesterday in Foxborough. They visit Miami on Sunday. Also, ESPN and others are reporting that team owner Robert Kraft has fallen short of election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame again this year. Last night, Cleveland rallied to upset Pittsburgh in the snow 24-19. And as expected, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were voted unanimous winners of the American and National League MVP awards last night. The Red Sox Jarren Duran finished 6th in the AL balloting. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the all-electric Honda Prologue. Head to your local New England Honda dealers to learn more or shop online at newengland.hondadealers.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Let's talk turkey, shall we?
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, in the sports industry, that's what you say.
Got your talking head right here, buddy.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. 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 Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5 The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na. Is it okay to use this for the radio? Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Joe.
I get it.
I mean, really? You think so?
Check it, baby.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. Yes. Thank you. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can call us 617-779-0985 and watch us on YouTube. We are available.
Are we good?
We are. We're very good on YouTube. That's where we shine. That's where we shine, Joseph. That is where we shine. Yes. Is YouTube. And you can get on the chat there. You can watch the show 24 hours a day, but live now. Obviously, we are on live. This is a live program. It's available in podcast form, but it is live right now. It stopped raining. I hit a patch of water on the way in today. That is going.
I hit a pack of bicyclists on the way in this morning, and were they mad?
Yeah. Ask Crash about how talking about that stuff goes.
Oh, no?
It's the most trouble I've ever been in my entire life.
In Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Is when Crash made a comment about bicyclists. They organized and went into total attack mode, and it was a whole situation.
Yeah, and look, I know there are people who make like mini careers out of complaining about like cyclists on the road. I don't complain about them. I worry for their safety more than anything, especially if you get into some of the back roads. And yes, this would be a nice place for a bike ride, but it's a tiny two-lane road winding through the woods. And I got no problem. I'll go around. I'll wait until it's safe. But other people may not be as patient.
There are some bicyclists that say, well, this road is for both of us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ride in the middle.
Yeah, and
I don't know if you understand. These were the aughts when lots of things were you were allowed to make fun of almost anyone.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how much you want to avoid talking anything about bicyclists. It's just my advice to you guys.
Okay.
Is as the one
remove the word from your vocabulary.
Yeah, as someone who's responsible for 99.9% of the trouble that this show gets into and gets to crap, I am not participating in any conversation about bicyclists at any point. My lesson, the lesson has been taught, and it was taught 20 years ago. Hachi machi, and it wasn't. I didn't even say anything, and it was the thing. Is that it was like a special interest group.
It's odd. You never know when those interest groups are going to pop up.
I had no idea, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And they were organized, and they acted like they were all like the Malcolm X of bikes. Like they all, like two wheels too strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hit but you ever hit because you got a pickup truck, you got an SUV too, John, and
I do.
We all got big man cars. We don't drive around those prissy little coupes. But
why are you looking at me?
I wasn't looking at you, but I wouldn't call it. You drive a coupe.
No,
that expresses like a fun roadster.
Drive a hatchback. 200,000 miles on my Subaru, Fred. 200,000
miles. I like that you tagged me when you got 200,000 miles on it.
I don't think Subaru has ever made a coupe. Have they? They're always four doors.
Yeah.
Unless it's
the WRX, I think, is a two-door.
12 driving Subaru.
Yeah, maybe.
On brand, John.
Biggest upset of the day so far.
No, it's. I'm surprised that you. How many miles did it have when you bought it?
47.
That's not bad.
Yeah. But we've talked too, Fred. Like I was in the spot you're in now with the transportation, having to drive around 3 hours a day. I did that for I think I was putting 25,000 miles a year on it for a couple of years.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because that's a lot.
Right.
Because in the amount, mine's more time than distance, but I probably put 9+ a year on my car, and 25,000 miles a year.
Yeah, I was before that I was doing because remember I used to host a lot of ski events up in the Whites during the winter, so that would be a lot of my mileage. So I'd average between 15 and 20, and then when I started taking care of transportation for my oldest kid who was going to school kind of farther away, like you're in the situation with it ended up I did the math in a couple of years, it was like right around 25,000 a year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
because my car though has it's not great. It has the thing on the reading of how many hours you've been in the car, like hours, minutes, and seconds you've been in the car.
Miserable.
And that's what really
terrible.
In 2 years, like 1,200 hours in that car. Yeah, and that's you can go in and look if you don't believe me.
No, I believe you. I just if it were me, I wouldn't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
because the miles are. I only have 19,000 miles on that car
in 2 years.
In 2 years.
That's crazy. That is, that's miserable. Because I probably do close to 18,000 a year, and I don't know what my hours in the car is, but I'm not spending. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look.
The Home Depot's far away from his house, so there's a lot of that back.
Well, he lives in Canton. I don't go, and I don't go on vacation in my car and stuff. If I go into, I just don't.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't ever go anywhere like super far away in the car. You can put a lot of. I mean, you can put 1,000 miles in your car in a road trip.
Yeah, I go to Maine a lot too, so that adds up.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't do that. But I can show you. Yeah, I said 9,000 plus miles a year in the car. I've been in that car well over 1,000 hours in 2 years. Because think about it. If I go to Waltham in the evening or the afternoon, that's a total time in the car of over an hour. Plus, before that, I got to get Zoe. Plus, then and then getting Zoe is, even though I don't like to keep it idling, Adam, I'll have you know, because that's just terrible.
Thank you.
I'll have to wait for her, and then I'm stuck in that traffic. So picking up Zoe, even though it's in Newton, is a 45-minute affair.
So let me head some people off of the pass here too, because I'm sitting here doing the math and like, okay, that many hours, that's only like an hour and a half a day. But on the weekends, I imagine there are sometimes you don't drive at all on a day or two over the weekend, or you drive very little compared to the other days where you're spending hours in the car.
Well, first of all, an hour and a half a day in the car is a lot, in my opinion. And second of all,
that's where you're going to get pushback, because there are people who commute, 45 minutes each way, and then they do their additional driving. So there are people listening right now doing that.
Okay. How many hours did I say in the car?
Over 1,000 in 2 years.
Yeah. So it's like 1,100 and change.
Okay.
So say that's an hour and 45 minutes a day. Yeah, I don't go anywhere on the week. I don't drive the car that much on the weekends. Well, sometimes I do, but there's not traffic on the weekends.
You don't think so?
Not where I go.
Oh my God! Saturdays, I think, are the sneaky worst traffic day of the week.
Yeah, because usually on the weekends it's a tournament situation where I have to just I get there and I park and I'm there for 5 hours. That's what's going on. That's everything. That's all I do. That's my only life. But anyway, there was this patch of water, standing water, and I hit it, and it's the deepest water I've ever driven through in this particular automobile. I have a high up Bronco in the water.
What's the ground clearance?
I mean, you'd have to tell me. You put the plate on.
I'll look it up.
And I will tell you that when I got down, the water was, cascading over my car like I was underwater.
11.6.
Very good. That's what the standard lift?
Yeah.
That's the big boy? That ain't the sport. You're looking at the big boy here,
well, it's
right?
11.5 for the 4-door.
Yeah, it's a 4-door.
Yeah.
I don't have a sport.
11.5 inches.
Off the ground.
But I'm telling you.
Yeah, the sport is only 8.8.
No,
the first time
you want lower to the ground for that.
The first time that a sedan hits that, I don't know what would happen. What happens if you put your car underwater? If you get it where it's like legit over your hood, what happens? Say that water was a foot deep. Mm-hmm. Like what happens? Can a sedan go through a foot of water, like a foot deep?
I don't think so.
So and by the way, if you were going fast, I happen to be making a right and then hit it. But if you were hitting that going 45 miles an hour, I don't know what would happen. I mean, it was like it made like an impact.
Yeah,
and you can't see it. It's just settled water in the road. And this time of the day, no one's paying attention. I mean, I could have easily been going 45 miles an hour. Now the Bronx probably takes that no problem because I just put in off-road mode. Take some air out of the tires.
Sure.
Like really hug the rocks. But
now,
you're driving in that Yugo.
But first things first, when you leave the house every morning, you check to make sure the winch is working and you've got all your gear in place. So you even if something were to go wrong, you can get yourself out of it.
Once a week I do that, but what I do when I get in the car is it's like before an airplane takes off, I check to see if I can get it in all the kinds of terrain.
Yeah.
I put the digital board up, and then I see the tire pressure of all four wheels. I go into off-road mode just to make sure that the suspension's working. Yeah, I do all that.
Yeah, once a week.
That's how I taught my son. He's getting, when he gets his driver's license, I'm like, if you ever drive this car, here's what you got to do. It's a 45-minute process.
Right, you do the walk around outside.
Yeah.
You pop the hood.
Yeah, you test the tire pressure, and then you turn it, because you can't trust always a computer. So you got to hand test them too. I know where it's at. Believe me. Believe me.
We're also old enough to remember when you would go shopping for cars, and at some point they would always pop the hood and let you take a look at
That's
that.
right.
Especially
Like
with
you
used
have
cars.
any effing clue what you're looking at.
Well, I mean, at least I could pretend to back when
couldn't
you
even
could
do that.
identify, certain things like, oh, yeah, okay. They don't even bother now. I mean, you could, there's no point in opening the hood. Salespeople don't know. I don't know.
Have you actually demanded that to happen at some point in
No.
your life? Hey, I want to look around. I want to look inside. I want to see what it is I'm buying.
No, but I do really, really like shopping for cars. I have a friend of mine right now who is shopping. I said, please let me help.
Are you the
You could've- should've came
negotiator?
with me yesterday.
No, I don't want to.
I had a buddy of mine who would specifically volunteer when any of us bought cars. He's like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to get you the best deal. And he would ride shotgun. I said, no, he'd get us the best deal possible. Great negotiator.
Yeah. By the way, I don't even know why they have you test drive them. I don't even. It's just, I guess, if you're buying a used car to make sure that it runs.
Oh no, because I think if you care at all about like how the car feels when you're actually driving it, like, oh, I really like the look of this car, but when I sat up, I didn't like. I didn't like the blind spots. I didn't like the fact I couldn't see over the hood and stuff
When
like
you're
that.
buying a used car, it's. I don't know what the point of the test drive is, other than to see that the car can work. I mean, like 5 seconds into it, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I mean,
to see if you like driving the car.
yeah,
Maybe
but
there are
what
things
if
about
it's
you
not
don't
for
like.
me?
Well, then you say I'm not buying it.
But what if it's not? The car is not for me, and I'm driving a car that's going to go to someone else, and I'm sitting there driving it. I mean, I can't speak for the other person.
I
mean, I kicked the tires.
Well, I know the person you're talking about, and I would still want to drive it to see, like, does this thing have maybe a little too giddy up?
I can assure you it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't a worry.
To me, the thing,
Adam, you'd be proud of this car. It was missing all the things that your car had. that your car was
my
missing
Chrysler
too.
Cirrus?
A little bit. I didn't know they still made cars without automatic seats. But yeah, it's got a bit of that.
Oh, you know what?
situation
Time to think
happening.
of, yeah, my Subaru doesn't have automatic seats. It's a
of course,
2013, so I got
Adam.
the little bar. You got to pull the bar up and slide it back
Yeah.
and forth, get it to the right spot.
Because I didn't even know they still had that.
Yeah.
It's got like a screen.
I'm legitimately bummed out, like, that I'm going to have to get a new car and that it's probably going to have, like, everything electronic. I don't like that. It's more crap that can break.
Well,
it's more stuff that can break.
You won't like this. If you get a Tesla, when you're steering it, your wheel's not connected to the tires.
Yeah, I won't be buying one of those,
if
ever.
there's no real metallic, physical connection to the tires, the wheel is telling a computer to turn the tires.
no, I want rack and pinion, baby.
Yep. So there you go.
So here's the other thing, and I'm sure somebody has one of these cars, maybe even someone here, but someone listening with the EVs. There either isn't a brake or you don't use the brake. You just the accelerator, and when you let off the accelerator, that's what kind of slows the vehicle.
You know how everyone, one hates Elon Musk, like all these people like Elon Musk. I wonder what percentage of them are Tesla drivers, because I'm going to imagine that it's about 99%. That 99% of the people that hate Elon Musk, of Tesla drivers, are people that hate Elon Musk now. I would say that that's a very safe bet.
I say that Venn diagram probably has a lot of overlap.
Oh, I think a Venn diagram.
Might
It's more
be
like a
just two
perfect
circles
circle.
on
I just
top
think
of
it's a
each other.
perfect
Yeah, sure,
circle.
sure.
I've always found that funny. Is that all right? So all right, Tesla, like a cool guy. Like I get it. And now, how about Elon? Carrying Trump's water. How'd you like that? Because I assure you that that's more of a Kamala Harris crowd. I can assure you that. Not that that's wrong. I just think it's a funny.
Maybe not the Cybertrucks.
The Cybertruck, I still stand by, is a joke, an elaborate joke.
I was behind one of them yesterday. It looks like a movie prop that some kid just drove off the lot.
A lot of money to pay for a joke.
They're not even that. They're not like crazy expensive. They're not like like a super hyped up sports car expensive. The thing is that it does make sense. Say you're like a billionaire. Like a billionaire, like you're a trillionaire, like you just are a weirdo with all this money. It's like totally corrupting you. Wouldn't it be like a fun psychological experiment to build the ugliest car that you can think of?
Yeah.
Just tell people it's cool and just see how many idiots will buy it.
Yeah.
That would I think if I had $1 trillion, that would be fun in a car company.
But it's still enough money because they were more than I thought they were.
Oh, I thought they were less than I thought. I thought they were like $100,000 because I thought they were like status thing.
They're more than that.
Yeah,
I thought they were
expensive.
like 70.
Oh God, no!
No,
you
very
can't
expensive.
get one for. I don't think you can touch one for less than 110.
Okay, then that makes sense even more because you're not going to sell a lot of them. The point's not to sell a lot of them. They probably don't make any of them. So the idea is that, and maybe you could unveil it like Dinner for Schmucks. At the end, you could unveil it and go like, look. This was all an elaborate joke. We want to see how ugly a thing someone would buy.
What you're saying makes sense, but not from us because that's not his. All he wants is everyone to like him.
I know. I know. I don't know anything about Elon Musk. I don't follow any of it. I don't know anything about him.
He desperately wants everyone to like him, so he just wants to. I want to make the cool truck that everybody likes, but he, as usual, fails.
And Fred, you're right. The baseline, starting price, whatever, is 80, but once you add things like at 12, you wouldn't be interested. Air conditioning and reverse things like that. And they're getting so much more on markup because people want them.
Yeah, I mean they're funny because all of us can even like my friend Mike Bell. You guys know him. He drives this like 100,000. He doesn't have kids. He's got married late. Like he got married when he was in his mid 40s. Like he had a lot. He has a lot of disposable income. He bought this like Batmobile Corvette. And it's kind of like whatever, but it's funny because it's Mike. But even when you see that, there is that primal part of you that's still a little kid that goes like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, like there's something uniform about the engineering of those cars. Like Lamborghinis are corny, but I have a friend with a Lamborghini. Not a friend. I know a guy with a Lamborghini. And I know someone with a Lamborghini SUV.
What?
Yeah.
They made those?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They probably made 2 of them. But
when you want to feel really special.
But like I would never drive one and I don't like necessarily like think it's like super cool, but there is that ooh. I mean, there is. If you see a Lamborghini like in a parking lot, you do.
Like,
part of you goes like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
But that Cybertruck.
No, it looks like adult Legos stuck together. I don't get it.
It is like Legos. I wouldn't want a Matchbox car that was like that. But be real while we finish and go into what happened last night. Be real has a good thought for you, Adam. He was concerned for you. He doesn't want to hit you to hit that water because if your windows were down, how would you possibly be able to crank them up in time? I mean, even if you had 2 minutes of forewarning that the water was coming,
and get the passenger side,
you'd probably get in an accident. Like, reaching over the passenger side.
No good.
Trying to roll that baby up.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's Be Real. He's always looking out for you. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Wouldn't it be nice to stop wearing glasses and contact lenses? Say goodbye to blurry vision and hello to clarity with LASIK surgery from Boston Vision. It's where the pros go, including new head coach Gerard Mayo, who is now 20/20 after his LASIK procedure. Book your free evaluation today at bostonvision.com.
If you need tires, think Town Fair Tire. Thinking name brands? We have them all. Thinking price? We beat the competitors. Free services? We have those too. For the guaranteed lowest price, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire.
Hey, it's Hardy. I'm up before the crack of dawn every day for the show, but recently I've been noticing frost on the ground in my neighborhood. So yeah, definitely getting colder, which means it's time to have Revise come to your home and perform a no-cost mass-save home energy assessment to help lower your heating costs, decrease drafts, and reduce the chance of ice dams forming. Yes, call
Hello, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what went on last evening?
Bruins taking on a team that not very good, the Utah Hockey Club. And their first game that we predicted may be a dead cat bounce type of game for a team that, well, record-wise, doesn't look like they're struggling all that mightily. They did let go of their head coach, Jim Montgomery, and they're looking for something. And last night they looked to not Jeremy Swayman in net, but
Mata waiting for it at the far point. They'll work it back to him now, center of the blue line. Here's Sergachev stepping in left circle and shot right into the midsection of Korpisalo. He hangs on.
He didn't have to do much with that one, but Korpisalo in net last night for the Bruins, who threw 20 shots on goal in the first period, outshot Utah by a factor of 6.
Got a lot of power plays.
And no goals.
Power plays. And no goals. No goals. They look great moving the puck around, though. They looked awesome. And I guess you got to crawl before you walk. That's more than we saw from the power play to last week.
Right. But the power play did come through in the second.
Deals to Zacha, right wing circle. Zacha up top for McAvoy. Over to Pasternak. In front, tipped on goal. They score! On the rebound, Elias Lindholm. And the Bruins power play gives them the lead.
There we go, 1-0. Now, there was a certain somebody who was very wound up last night. Very, very upset with a variety of Utah Hockey Club players. You know who I'm talking about, Wallach?
You're talking about Mark Kastelik, Hardy.
Well, I wonder why he was so upset.
Kastelik trying to get a shot. Got hit, and here they go. Him and Bortuzzo, round 2. And this one, a little more spirited as Kastelik firing right hands. Even as both guys are down on the ice, Kastelik still throwing right hands. Feel like he thought Bortuzzo, maybe, as you said, tried to take advantage of him on that first one?
I don't know. I know that Kastelik was going for a line change, and Bortuzzo hopped off the bench and grabbed him.
Yep.
Maybe it has something to do with the fact that Kastelik was bounced in the first round of Pucks and Paddles by yours truly.
You think?
And he was very put out by that.
It sounds, too, like your partner had a bit of a mouth on him.
He got a little lippy with Zadorov, which I did.
That's not smart.
I didn't.
That's not smart at all.
It was a great idea.
No.
And then he beat us. So I don't know.
They're a very large individual.
But that Kastelik, that second fight,
Oof.
that was one of those fights that sometimes hockey fights, you just go, that was one that you're glad you're not on the receiving end of that one.
Well, my son was in the room, doing something else. I'm like, hey, fight.
Yeah.
And that was one where I'm glad I drew his attention because he connected twice, like 2 actual punches that landed. That thing was over quickly. I'm like, ooh. Ow.
I know, but you got to respect the fact guy hops off the bench and grabs him as he skates by and goes, let's go.
Yeah, he said
usually you don't see that.
But in that moment, I thought, Fred, remember our conversation yesterday? Would you rather, try and get in front of a slap shot or square off? I'll still take my chances in a fight, but that one made me think about it a little bit more.
It's one punch. It's not even a fight. It's one punch, and it's when you're holding on to the guy. You're that close to him.
Really going to hurt, though.
You've been punched, I take it, before.
Yeah.
And you've survived.
But I didn't like it.
No, but
neither are pleasurable experiences, Hardy.
There's the
neither
shot.
Are good.
When you get hit, if it's hit one punch, when you get hit, there's the shock of getting hit, and then there's really no pain. Until as someone who's got my ass kicked many, many times, and I have photographic evidence of it that many of our listeners have seen, unless you're getting really booted with boots, that's unpleasant because of the hospital stay, or when you're getting hit with objects, that also is no fun. But if it's just fists to the face, you probably won't even fall down. You get hit like in the head, you might not even fall down. You just don't want them to break your nose or your jaw, because then you got to get your jaw wired shut. That's no fun.
Well, the Bruins thought they had added to their lead later on with another power play opportunity.
Marchand to Elias Lindholm. Lindholm trying to shoot for the empty net, but Kerfoot blocked it inside the Utah zone. Lindholm able to win the puck back, but slid it just wide in the empty net. Now it's free in the slot. Lindholm to Pasternak. That shot gets blocked. Turns around, scores. Pasternak into the empty net.
That's
finally.
A power play, but there's no. It's what it is 5-on-5 because there's no goaltender in the Utah net. They're having that much trouble the Keystone Cops getting a shot on net, an empty net. Now, there is a member of the Utah Hockey Club standing in the crease.
Yeah.
But he's just standing there. He's not a goalie or anything. And they're just whipping the puck around, missing the net.
And the great Bruins luck that it is, that goal got overturned.
It did. Overturned,
after all that work, the goal
overturned-
didn't count.
Overturned on the high stick. So they would still go on to win 1-0 last night. And a win for your
all right.
What?
They moved the puck around real well. They played much better. There was higher energy. They had, 15, 20 shots on the power play alone last night? I mean, they looked good. They were unable to score, really. They got 2 goals, one of which was overturned, and they're still without a 5-on-5 goal for their last 8+ periods.
Yeah.
That seems to be a problem, but overall, it was a step forward instead of treading water or taking another step back, so we'll take that.
Okay, yeah, but I don't think that's the best they've looked this season. After the game, they were talking about, this is, it's not how they won, it's how they won. And the thing is, they won 1-0, which they were capable of doing before. Look, they certainly looked better than they did against Columbus in the last game that they had played. But this 1-0 game against an expansion team was not exactly. I don't know how it's so life-affirming to everyone. They can't score. Go.
I want to ask your opinion, both of you guys' opinion, about what Sacco did in net. He didn't start Swayman. He started Korpisalo. Korpisalo played well last night. Solid, if not spectacular. He wasn't called upon to stop a breakaway or anything like that.
He didn't allow any goals.
So he didn't allow any goals, but he is clearly playing better than Swayman at this point. And Beetle brought this up on the Midday Show a couple of days ago, and I'll steal his idea. Do you continue to start Korpisalo if you're Joe Sacco and want to make a statement?
If I would continue to play Korpisalo, and my excuse could be this, is that Swayman didn't get training camp, and we're not going to let him learn on the fly or get back into shape in the fly. So this is going to be an extended training camp for him, and we're going to play Korpisalo the majority of the games while he gets into form. Because you don't want to just try – because – you could also, I don't know anything about playing goaltender, but if it's like pitching or something, you don't want a guy throw, like you'd rather just have the guy not throw and get his stuff together than go out there and sacrifice him every 5th day while he gets his stuff together. So just if you want to cross sports. So I think you could make an excuse for playing Korpisalo, and that Swayman didn't come to a contract resolution until the day before the season.
And I like where Korpisalo's head is at. He was not thrown off by the loss he took at Pucks and Paddles, once again at the hands of yours truly. He was able to overcome that mental barrier and play well last
I don't want to throw water on this, but imagine if you would have gone out and met the guy you played. Now, we didn't have to get to Pucks and Paddles until 3:45.
Mm-hmm.
Hardy's partner was there with his son at Game On at noon.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 hours and 45 minutes of some warm-up.
Yeah.
Imagine if you would have taken the time and just warmed up for those 3.5 hours.
Well, Fred,
you would have beaten Zadorov.
You have taught me and so many others, Isaac among them, the danger of over-preparedness. And that is why you saunter in last minute, refuse to prepare for many things in life. And
no rubbers.
It is sure. It has served you well. So I just took a page out of your book. That's all I was doing.
I just wonder when you lost if your partner was like, this was something we could have won if only he would have put the work in.
I guarantee that conversation between him and his son took place on the way back to New Hampshire.
You think that he was a little sore?
Yes.
How did he take the loss? You did not take it well. How did he take it?
Better than I did in the moment. I think he put on a better face about it.
Could you tell he was disappointed?
Of course he's disappointed. You know, you're there to win and to do well.
Is there
not just to make it to the 3rd round?
There was no hubbubaloo, by the way, over who won. I just realized I don't even know who won.
Pasternak.
Okay. Do you get anything?
They did give them something. They handed them something.
Okay.
Yeah, it was some kind of a trophy or something. But to the person who bid on Pasternak, I'm sure they got to keep it.
So you get a trophy.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How's it feel?
I can see why your partner would want that.
It's not just about the trophy. But that's
then
part
what's
of it.
It's about the hang, man.
Yeah, well, the hang happened. The hang happens if you lose in the first round, or if you have access to everyone. You have more access if you're not playing.
It's about winning. Is winning the Masters about wearing the green jacket, or is it to say, yes, I won the Masters, I am a Masters champion?
What happens if you win the Masters that's tangible?
You win the green jacket. That's it.
What? No.
Money.
What? And?
Fame.
And what else for the rest of your life?
You always get to play in the Masters.
Right. For pucks and paddles, it's over. You don't get to play in it again for free. You don't get anything. There's nothing tangible.
Huh.
So I think that's a flawed argument on your point.
Okay, how about winning the Super Bowl?
There's a bonus. You get a cool ring that's worth a lot of money. You're a hero in the city. You can get a broadcasting.
The ring goes in a safe that you only bring out once every.
You don't think you
3
could
years.
use that collateral on a loan, or you could borrow against that? Please. Plus, you can then cold call people in finance, and they'll give you your money, like Richard Todd did.
I forgot about the loan collateral aspect of the Super Bowl ring. You're right.
Richard Todd.
That's
Richard
worth
Todd
something.
was a finance guy in Alabama, and you'd go, what's the point? Well, the point was he could get $5 from all those hicks. He just called people and go, hello? Hey, this is Richard Todd. No, it ain't. Yeah, it is. It's Richard Todd. I'm investing now. Give me money. And they'd be like, all right, Richard Todd. And they would just give money. So, like, $10 by $10 by $10. He built, it was like the Wolf of Wall Street. He built these penny ante stock and he took all the people's money.
Was Richard Todd the quarterback when you first started rooting for the Jets?
Yes. Okay. He was in the Mud Bowl. He was in that Mud Bowl where they didn't cover the field in Miami in 1982, and I didn't think it was fair, and I cried.
Yes.
Yes.
My wife actually brought up. My wife's a Dolphins fan. You hang on to these things. It's weird. She brought up the snowplow game, the Patriots beating Miami 3-0 when they plowed the spot for John Smith to kick the field goal. She still remembers that.
It's pretty amazing that you could cheat like that back then. That wasn't that long ago. Like those
50 years.
Yeah, it's 50 years, but it wasn't. I mean, it was still a big time game.
Mm-hmm.
The Mud Bowl, like in 1982, the Super Bowl was like a really profitable thing. The NFL was a big deal, and the idea that Miami during a huge storm just let their field go to crap because the Jets were a high flying offense is pretty funny to look back on and go that the league was just like, okay. Yeah. Like field conditions don't matter.
Home field advantage.
Do you know the crap that you would get now putting those players in danger? I mean, and
Can you
rightly
imagine
so.
If the Patriots tried to do that today, bring the plow onto the field.
Well, that's just ludicrous. That those officials stood around going,
fine. No
well, I don't think there's a rule for this. You have flummoxed me.
I believe that plow's in the Patriots Hall of Fame for some reason.
Yeah, because
there's a piece of lawn and garden equipment on the field right now that we didn't ask for, yet they're just doing. Huh.
If Hardy was in the stands, he would have just had a pennant that said, "Plow,
go plow,
go plow."
Oh, yeah.
What kind of plow is that? A Toro? What kind of plow is that?
I'm sure somebody knows what kind of plow that thing was.
He'd have
It had to have been a deer. Had to have been a John Deere.
Yeah,
a mink coat and a little pennant that said "Plow." All right, we'll be back. Robert Kraft is not getting into the Hall of Fame.
He is not.
Which I find delightful. I don't know why. I really like it.
Knowing that it causes somebody pain and they're upset about it, you tend to lean into these things.
That's fair to think, but that's not really it.
That's not it?
No, it's not. No, it's really not.
I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what it is too, John. We'll talk about it. We'll be right back. Here are the headlines. sounds like The Weeknd.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. Deserta is the name of the artist.
Ooh.
Feeling electronic.
I'll have a dessert or two.
Hey,
I'm being bad tonight.
Hey, somebody's ready for Thanksgiving.
You got that right.
Oh, Fred.
I'm staying at the Hollywood Casino, baby, in Greektown, Detroit.
Tonight?
No, for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
All right. What's going on, Hardy?
Once again, a certain someone has been passed over for football's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the scandals that the team has been involved with over the course of time don't help. I know there have been suggestions that, the push for his candidacy to the Hall of Fame has turned some people off, which I think is overblown. And quite frankly, if you can't separate a person's credentials from whatever quote unquote push may have been made on his behalf, to me, I'm not sure you're qualified to be voting on things like this.
Yeah, baby.
Robert Kraft once again denied access to Pro Football's Hall of Fame.
R.A.K., baby. Can't get these cats are gonna get it beaten with my chain. All of a sudden he's Tangway. I can't do it. Bob, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
Do you think that this has anything to do with the fact that, Bill Parcells rebuilt the Patriots franchise? He got here in 1992. The Patriots were the worst team in the league by far. 4 years later, they're in the Super Bowl. And Kraft has personally kept Parcells out of the Patriots Hall of Fame. And that's ridiculous. And he was in the Patriots documentary for like 4 minutes. Do you think that his treatment of Parcells has anything to do with this?
Maybe. I mean, people don't like him, obviously. There's animosity towards him. And whether that's for Spygate, the Flakegate, Orchids of Asia, or something to do with Parcells, or maybe it's all of
above,
it.
Yeah.
I mean, your theories are as good as mine. But I do think it's a life lesson, and I actually told my kids this, is that try hard, if you want something and you go around announcing how badly you want it, and it's up to someone to give it to you, that's not cool.
So this is who they went with instead. 50 Hall of Fame voters chose Ralph Hay.
Of course, Men at Work.
It's Colin Hay.
Oh.
Now, Wallach, that's overkill. Ralph Hay, co-founder of the National Football League and the owner of the Canton Bulldogs. The Canton Bulldog, that's a public high school mascot. What are they talking about?
Yeah.
No, this is a different Canton Bulldogs from 1918 to 1922.
Yeah, and so he probably
didn't
doesn't
want
have
NFL players to be paid either, if I remember right.
He probably doesn't have a lot of years left, so it's probably time to get him in while he can enjoy it.
Oh man,
yeah, it is delightful because
when did Ralph Hay die? Let's see, how long has he not been?
Mid-40s.
I've made fun of the whole Pro Football Hall of Fame process for a long time because it is funny.
He died in 1944.
Yeah. 2 years after my parents were born. So the thing about the Hall of Fame that's always been funny to me is the way that they do it. And when you hear guys that are one of the 50 of those dudes, they go to like a hotel and they sit in a conference room and someone makes a presentation.
Yep.
And then they debate each guy and they take it so seriously. You'll hear other people talk about how asinine this whole thing is. And they take it so seriously and they really do feel like guardians at the gate. So that's always been funny to me. And the idea that Kraft assigned Stacey James allegedly to start this huge let me in campaign.
Yeah.
And then he made that Dynasty movie that we had to sit through in order partially to prove his worth, or got the book written.
It wasn't a movie, it was a 10-part docuseries.
Absolutely.
Based on a book that was basically the same kind of push.
Right. So to prove his worth, it's funny. Like, you can't be going, it's a good lesson. Like, you can't go around campaigning for awards. That's not how it's done. Now, you can pay for them. I'm sure that those MTV Video Music Awards were bought and paid for back in the day, as I'm sure some of the other awards were.
At this point,
but that's behind the scenes. You can't up front stand at the door, jumping up and down, trying to get into the party. Rubel wouldn't let you in Studio 54 if you were peacocking around in your disco outfit, begging to get in. But if you had a mustache and assless chaps on and you were in the back of the line, and you played it cool, he might let you in. That's how you do things. I told my kids that. I said, look at this. I said, you can't jump around trying to get people to accept you. You got to play a little cool.
So this is the 13th time he has not made it in.
Lucky 13.
Yeah.
Like how many guys I've hit with my chain. Jonathan, get the car running. I'm getting my baseball bat. We're going to go knock down some mailboxes.
It's Tankway.
I know, I can't do craft. I forget how he talks.
We just kind of lost it this morning. Yeah, usually you have that.
Yeah, I forgot how he talks.
To
be honest with you, I haven't heard him talk in like a year.
A lot of people have thought that this was the year. I thought this was the year they separated the contributors and from the coaches, and this would get him in. But this Ralph Hay, he is founding father of the NFL. He organized the first meeting of teams.
Why is he not in? Like, why is he not in yet then?
Well, there is that sneaky thing about him not wanting to pay players.
Yeah, that was
whatever. It was the depression.
Exactly. If he's so important, how come he's not in until now?
No, and also if he started the NFL, how is it not in? You know how many? What, he didn't want to pay the players? I don't know. He didn't own slaves. Like half the guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
The NFL is finding guys now. That's the real slap in the face. The guys, obviously, that are getting elected don't deserve to be in.
What about Ralph Hay?
Who? The NFL is just looking for guys to put in instead of him at this point.
I wonder who campaigned for Ralph Hay. Like, who was his advocate?
I don't think there was any. I think
I was around Ralph Hay. I was his secretary. He threw a pencil on the floor and he said, Lois, pick up that pencil. So I picked it up. And the next thing I knew, he was behind me. And I never felt such pleasure. Ralph Hay!
New voice unlocked.
Wow. I'm Ralph Hay's secretary. Mr. Hay, I'm under your desk.
Well, what other contributions did he make? Can you remember at the time that would?
He contributed an illegitimate child in my belly.
No, I was
he
saying
contributed to a world of pleasure.
Ms. Haskins, what other contributions do you make to the sport of football that would warrant his induction into the Hall of Fame?
He goes, this is hooker money. I'm not going to pay you for the hookers. I'm not paying the players. This is my whore money.
Whore money?
He called it whore money, which was offensive. I said, that's prostitute money, Mr. Hay.
Ms. Haskins.
He would say, hey, I'm Mr. Hay. How about we have a roll in the hay? And I go, that's not funny. Just do me. But that was the 20s.
Could you speak?
They were roaring.
Could you speak more to his treatment of players and the fans?
The fans? Huh?
I don't know. I forget it. I got no more. Stop making me improvise.
Was he a good family man?
Yeah, he could make them. He made kids and kids and kids. And come Christmas, he'd come by with a ham. And he'd leave it out. He'd say, Secretary, here's a ham. Now get! Don't come around my office no more. I got another one. He say, Secretary. And I say, yeah. He goes, would you like to take a dictation? And I said, oh, Mr. Hay, you'll never learn. But I knew what he meant. I invented the Lewinsky. I said, look at my dress. It's got Mr. Hay all over it.
In 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
2 minutes. I got to stop.
Okay. All right. Very good. Bert Breer is sent to Georgia. Where is he?
Uh-oh. He's supposed to be here.
He's in studio today.
He's supposed to be here.
We haven't received a text, which means he's going to be here.
Oh, nice.
All right. Very good. Bert Breer is coming. We will be right back.
You're listening.
Groove's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht with 7 locations and thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles. Get the right vehicle at the right price now at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, what's going on? What's going on now? What is this?
Well, this is Rock the House by Gorillaz off the first Gorillaz album.
All right.
Sounds almost like they're sampling like old game show music.
Yeah, it sounds like a very laid-back British 1960s game show.
Does it make you horny, baby?
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye. That was a bomb. A bomb just went off.
They're bringing back Austin Powers, though.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. Keep shoveling. Keep trying to get out of that.
Hardy left his seat.
Everyone got up. That you don't really hear a car crash like that very often, Adam.
Terrible.
Holy crap.
Needed to get that one out of my system.
Do some Caddyshack lines next.
Thank God we have Bert here to build our audience back from zero.
Oh, my goodness. Well, he's
Hey,
lucky.
Bert.
What's up?
Bert Breer. Hey. Bert Breer is the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. Getting down to business with Bert Breer is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. All right, Bert, thank you for joining us in studio. It's very exciting.
Been a couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad to have you back. Robert Kraft did not make the Hall of Fame. The 13th year that he's not made the Hall of Fame. He's 83.
Yeah.
He wants to get in while he is still living, which hopefully will be for a long time. Ralph Hay, who had was from
And I'll be honest, you guys.
That was my first question.
You don't know many people.
You know more about football than anyone I know. Did you know the name Ralph Hay?
No.
Wow. What does that tell you?
Well, who did they elect last year instead of?
I mean, it's almost like I don't know. Sometimes with these things, it's almost like
I showed a booby. I lifted up my skirt and showed him my nipple.
And look, if this is some guy like we'd never heard of who, if this
Go ahead, boy. Rumble, you run your mouth. My Mr. Hay. Learn his name. Put respect on his name.
Did you hear this before you came in, the last segment? You didn't hear this part?
This is Miss Haskins, Ralph Hay's secretary.
This is Ralph Hay's
I'm Miss
secretary.
Haskins, Ralph Hay's secretary.
She worked for him for many years, and she said he was
In 1918!
a wonderful family man and very loving.
In his own way.
He was a level.
Ralph Hay.
Ralph Hay in his own way. That's how I got my lay.
Guys, this is like the period of time too when the first name Ralph was very
Not for
popular.
9 months after Mr. Hay.
You don't see too many Ralphs anymore.
No, you don't see a lot of Ralphs.
But there was a period of time, I feel like our grandfathers probably
Ralph
that
Wilson.
period of time. Yeah.
You don't see a lot of Hildegards, Helgas,
Bertha.
Bertha. There's a lot of names that don't exist anymore. Okay, so why is Robert Kraft not getting it, in your opinion, and who you talk to? I'm sure you've talked to people.
Yeah,
in the past about it.
I have to think at this point. And look, if you want to go back over the timeline of it, there was sort of this period where they started to put owners in, and I think Robert was probably in line after Jerry Jones, but then with Pat Bowlen, the Broncos owner, there was the push to get him in before he passed because he had Alzheimer's, right? Like, so they put Pat Bowlen in, and then the timing for Robert Kraft of the Orchids of Asia thing couldn't have been worse. And I understood like not putting him in right after that because I think the optics of it would have been bad. But they've changed the rules now 15 times on how they do this, and
the separating of the contributors from the coaches should have been
what got him in, because
Yes.
I actually was of the opinion that Mike Shanahan should get in before he does. I always feel like coaches and players should get in before owners. Like I that's just my philosophical feeling on it. I thought, like, when I looked at the contributors list last year, I'm like, it's not even close. Mike Shanahan's the name that should get in. And the reason I felt that way is because he won 2 Super Bowls. He took 2 different franchises to the playoffs, and his offense is legitimately being run by half the NFL now.
Mhm.
So, like, your impact doesn't get much bigger than that. That said, now that that's separate, I mean, this is weird because this one, like, if Ralph Hay was like 101 years old and just hanging on, and they put it like, then maybe like, even if I hadn't heard of him, I would understand it.
He's been dead 80 years, Bert.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Is like if there was like some huge rush to get, like, you know, you would understand it if he was like 97 years old and just hanging on. This one I don't really understand. And there's this period of pro football that, like, look, like, we all respect what they did back then, but it was not what the NFL is now. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a little
Okay, but that explains how you don't know him, but why is Robert Kraft not getting in? He wants to get in so badly. Why is he not getting in?
because he wants to get in so badly.
Exactly. That's right. You can't. That's a life lesson. You can't beg people to let you into the party. It's not. It comes off as desperate.
Yeah, and I think a big piece of it is like they just don't want people campaigning to get in, and you know, you had the Don Van Natta story, which I don't know if that really helped either. Like, the timing of that drops right around you know, when they're going to vote. And
the what story?
The Don Van Natta story, the big story was it the summer? It was over the summer, right?
I believe so.
Or early September, maybe, when Don Van Natta, who's done all the stories with Seth Wickersham, did this story. There was a specific ESPN story specifically
about how Stacey James was trying to get in.
Sending Stacey out and sending cards and folders.
I like that you
both.
I like that John remembered the author of the story's name. That's
Yes.
good. That's
Well, I thought you guys might remember it because he's done a lot of Patriot stories over the last 10 years. So.
You're overestimating us. Very much overestimating us. So basically, the guy.
I could pull up the contributor category, and it's not just Robert. I could probably pick out 5 other names that like would go in ahead of Ralph Hay.
Okay, so what is
I legitimately first heard of when I read the story about Robert not getting in.
What is the process then? Okay, so there's 50 guys, and they're all in like a ballroom.
No, so like this, there's a 9-man committee that selects this from the contributor. Like, so this is like a seniors committee or whatever. The 9-man committee selects the contributor candidate, and then that contributor candidate goes to be rubber stamped by the 50 Hall voters.
Yeah, Ralph Hay isn't in yet. He has to go for consideration by this other group.
Yeah.
You in, Ralph?
His secretary.
Yep.
Ralph, you in there? I can't feel nothing.
The music's killing me.
I'll take your word for it, Ralph. Just be quick. You have a 1 o'clock appointment.
With who? I just have this picture in my head. I just have this picture in my head of like
some muckraking journalist. Who?
I have this picture in my head of like black and white footage of like a locomotive. Like
Everyone walking around quickly. Yeah. You know?
Mr. Hay, there's someone tying me to the railroad tracks. He's got a pencil-thin mustache.
Snidely whiplash.
All right, so
but this is really, and Fred, I get it. It's funny and it's amusing that there's this group of guys that are like, he wants in here so bad, we're not going to let him in.
Well, so
but at what point, Bert, do they have a responsibility? Well, listen, let me ask my question. What point do they have a responsibility to, like, this Hall of Fame, whatever it is, to actually represent what the Hall of Fame is supposed to be. Shouldn't it be something that people, A, gravitate toward, and B, have some interest in? Because no one's interested in Ralph Hay. But the Robert Kraft thing, it's like, does he deserve an induction? Yes. Do people know who he is? Yes. Would it actually lend some credibility to the Hall of Fame? Well, they would argue that his scandals would probably hurt it, but no, of course not. He deserves to be in. So what's the point of keeping him out?
I'd say like the.
Or what's the justification?
So I think like the perception, publicity part of it matters less because they're going to get that from the modern era candidates anyway. Like if Terrell Suggs goes in, it doesn't like. It doesn't matter, like if Ralph Hay or Robert Kraft
what
goes
owner
in.
or contributor gets in.
Right.
Okay,
the ex-players, the ex-players are always going to be the ones that are the stars of the show on Hall of Fame weekend. I look at like I'm looking down the list now, and I'm reading Ralph Hay. So it said in the ESPN story, they called him the co-founder of the NFL. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
A founding father.
Okay, so but then I'm reading the bio. This is from the Hall of Fame website.
Okay.
Like who made it through the contributor round, which is like the 25 contributor finalists. Ralph Hay, owner of the Canton Bulldogs from 1918 to 1922. So he only owned he only owned the team for 4 years, and hosted the NFL's formational meeting in his automobile dealership
Piece
in
with two
downtown
backs
Canton.
formation.
Their formational meeting.
This Mr. Hayes a devil's threesome.
So he owned the team for 4 years. Like that's it. Like,
and he had a meeting at his car dealership.
Yeah. So hosting that meeting got him in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
100 years later.
So what it is now is their only reason for keeping Robert Kraft out is Robert Kraft wants in.
I want to find a picture of Ralph Hay.
He's got a cigar.
Oh my God!
He's got a cigar. Yeah, the one pic.
He does look like
dogger type that was
he
taken.
does look like a car salesman from the 1920s.
Look at my son.
Can I interest you? Can I interest you in this airflow?
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think we're talking Model T Ford at this point.
They offer big back seats in the cars at Mr. Hayes' dealership.
Oh, I could never enter the car with Mr. Hayes.
No, you weren't allowed in the car?
Women weren't allowed in the car.
Oh, there he is with Jim Thorpe.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy Thorpe.
No.
Good run like
I grabbed those keys more than once. It's you and I, Mr. Thorpe.
Wait a minute.
Let's go.
Mr. Hay didn't ask you to do that, though. That was something you did of your own volition.
Yeah, orgies. Fun. Roaring 20s orgies. Whee! My hoop skirt would be above my ears.
Hoop skirt?
Yeah, hoop skirts aren't fun.
No, well, I don't think there's a 20s anyway.
Sure.
All right, so Robert Kraft now getting in.
All right, very good.
I think it's like, I don't know. It just, there's a point where I understood if you're pushing too hard and paying a price for that. This is
hurt your back, Mr. Hayes.
Born in Canton, died in Canton.
Put on your harness.
Died at 53 years old.
Yeah.
Formed the American Professional Football Conference in 1920, which would become the NFL.
True.
The meeting actually happened in his showroom, not just in the dealership, having them in the showroom.
Right next to the Model T Ford.
Well, you know what? Now you've convinced me. He belongs. You know what? After you read it the third time, now I'm convinced he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame above everyone else, including Robert Kraft. I didn't know about the car dealership showroom meeting, but okay.
Just see RKK sitting
so
in
all the
office.
fans could watch from the outside because you know the showroom is usually all glass.
It was an aquarium of sex, he would call it. And you are my fish, Hazel.
Hazel Haskins?
I thought I said Hazel already. Haskins, let's stick with that.
All right, very good. It's a lot of fun. Bert Breer is here, and there is so much to talk about. Myles Garrett is very good at football.
That was awesome last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, a nice snow game in Ohio. That's always fun. And, Those AFC North matchups, those teams truly don't like each other, which is a lot of fun. I mean, the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game was very hard-nosed last night. It was good in those conditions. It was fun. Bert's with us. We will have more of him in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, wants you to catch all the action right.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Bert Breer is here. Everyone knows him. He's from MMQB. He's on the Amazon coverage of Thursday Night Football before and after every game. And he's kind enough to be in studio with us. All right, so Drake May looks like he's the real deal. We don't have to get into all that again. But, you know, the Patriots are going to have a high draft pick. And, you know, rumors are starting to come out. The Giants with Daniel Jones' situation and that he basically resigned from they had him. Do you guys know? I mean, Bert's going to know this, but did you guys know that Daniel Jones was on the scout team as a safety?
Yes, I did know that.
At the practice, that they had him out there just standing there.
This is how much we do not want you around.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the last person that happened with?
No.
Tim Tebow.
Robert Griffin. Do you guys remember that?
No.
Okay, Robert Griffin, the exact same thing happened where they sat him down because of injury guarantees in his contract. And there was a practice where it got a lot of attention that they were going and putting him out there as a scout team safety. Now, the reality of this is he's not a scout team safety. They were in a walkthrough period, and they just need a body, and that's generally what they do with backups is like, okay, like we just need somebody to stand there.
Literally just stand there and be.
Just represent what we're looking at.
It was positioned as he was just standing there, but I suppose that maybe it puts a different picture in your mind when it says scout team safety.
I don't know why they don't just cut him. Like that part doesn't make sense to me because it's all the same anyway. They got to pay out the money the rest of the year either way. If they cut him now, then the injury risk is gone because he's just not on the team anymore. And no one's going to claim his contract anyway. So,
and Dayball's staying there because there's a lot of commotion in that locker room. It doesn't seem to be handling. Players aren't handling.
I don't know about that. Like there are some people that are loyal to Daniel Jones. I've heard from some people that a lot of people there were really, really frustrated with the way Daniel Jones was playing, players and coaches. And I even had somebody point it out to me. They said, go look at the All-22 from the Carolina game. So I dug it up. And there was a play. I don't know if you guys watched that game.
Of course.
I would hope you did.
Who would have missed it?
I would hope you didn't.
Giants, Carolina.
Well, it was.
Wow. We do sports radio.
It was a standalone game. It was that morning game. So, but anyway.
Yeah, you got to get up
I would not blame anybody for not watching that game.
That was the one that went into overtime with, and they could. Yeah, okay. I was listening to WFAN, or the ESPN New York channel during that game. It was funny, and the guy that was on was going, "Oh Jesus, this isn't going to end," because FAN has the broadcast, and the guy, he was like, "And it's going to overtime." Is what the guy was saying. Go ahead.
So there's a flea flicker on the play where, and I could show you guys the play. It's like legitimately two guys are wide the F open. Like
I now remember this. Yes.
So like the two guys are it's Neighbors and who was the other one? There was somebody who
doesn't matter, but he took a
might
sack.
have been Darius Slayton, whoever it was. But yeah, so the two guys
sack instead.
The two guys, like probably both the guys could have scored the touchdown if he just pulls the trigger. And if you go and you look at like the All-22, you can see the whole sideline like throwing their arms up and being like, and it's just. And there were other plays like that too. There's another play in that game where Malik Neighbors, he runs like a comeback, and the ball is so far, like when the ball's coming off Daniel Jones's hand, it's so far off his head. Malik Neighbors sees the ball come off his hand and just walks off the field.
Oh wow! All right, so but
there's stuff like that, like where it's obvious that they were
sure.
Like, there were people there that were done with them.
So Dayball, you think is staying? The GM and Dayball are staying?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. But that means that they're going to be very aggressive for a quarterback in the draft. There's going to be other teams that are very aggressive for a quarterback in the draft.
I mean, I think the Raiders are like borderline. If it's still the same people, are going to be under a mandate to go get a quarterback. Okay, and so like it's one of those years where
That's what I want to get to is that the Patriots are probably going to have a top 5 pick. I
think they're 6th heading into
the week. So they'll have a top 5 pick because they're not going to win a lot of games. They might win 1 or 2. So that should get them a top 5 pick, let's say. There is going to be some activity up there, and that does mean to me if there's a mandate to get quarterbacks from at least 2 franchises, that at least 1 or 2 quarterbacks are going to go in the top 5 regardless.
Which is great for the Patriots.
But what are you hearing about the top-end quarterbacks in this draft? Because that would be what the pick's worth.
I don't. So the Giants are interesting because I don't think they'll be like this. Like I would tend to doubt that they're like those guys worked with Josh Allen, the guys who run that team. So they're all from Buffalo. So I have a hard time believing that they would force it with a mediocre quarterback prospect. The Raiders, because of the owner, it wouldn't surprise me if it becomes, no, we're going getting a quarterback come hell or high water. Like the class is not good. Carson Beck, a lot was expected of him coming into the year. He's flattened out. He played better against Tennessee last week, but he hasn't been great this year.
Ewers has been hurt.
Ewers has been hurt and also doesn't look like that sort of talent right now.
No.
Shedeur Sanders, I think, is probably the best of the group. But what I keep hearing with him is he's good, not great. You know, like his ceiling isn't that high. Like he's a really good athlete, not a great athlete. He's got a good arm, not a great arm. You know, so like I think he's probably the first one to go.
Oof.
But like he definitely wouldn't have gone in front of the first three quarterbacks last year, and I'm not sure he would have gone in front of Penix or McCarthy or Nix either. He'd be in that mix. I'd say Shedeur goes somewhere in the first round, and maybe if somebody gets desperate, really high in the first round. And then after that, it's sort of a grab bag. You know, Cam Ward from Miami is another one to consider.
Someone told us, maybe it was off air, that Cam Ward is a guy that some people are predicting, he's the quarterback of Miami, that some people are predicting gets a big boost during workouts, which is what J.J. McCarthy's deal was. That's what you were hearing about J.J. McCarthy last year, and it ended up being true.
I think what's interesting about Cam Ward was that, like...
Because he hasn't played a lot of football.
He had, there's just... Well, no, Cam Ward has.
But not in Miami, right?
No, he played at Incarnate Word, then transferred to Washington State. So he's actually played a lot. It's just at different schools. He
hasn't popped until this year.
Right. Well, so the problem with him is last year when he was in the transfer portal, he was being aggressively shopped around. I actually kind of saw this firsthand because they were involved.
They asked you to pay him.
He was involved in the Ohio State collectives, and at one point he actually declared for the draft and didn't wind up going because his draft grade was and this isn't from the actual NFL service, but from teams when they got feedback from teams, his draft grade was going to be 6th round, 7th round undrafted. So based on that, and he had a really good year last year at Washington State too. Does he jump into being a high first round pick? I'm a little skeptical of that, but I think he's definitely one to watch and somebody who is going to require, I think, a lot of examination on the part of the scouts.
Okay, so maybe the Patriots, you think, would then, if they have a top 5 pick, it's a situation where you stand pat.
I mean, they could. I think one of the problems they're going to have too is their biggest need, I think, by far, is tackle.
And there's one tackle.
The problem is the tackles have not had a great year, and it's another position where, and this isn't the best year to have a high pick, period. But the tackles haven't had a great year. So Will Campbell's the kid from LSU. Apparently he has short arms. He's struggled kind of a little bit with longer defensive ends this year, and there are a lot of questions about whether or not he's a tackle or a guard now. So he's a really good player, but might wind up being a guard in the NFL. Which was the same question, if you remember, with Isaiah Wynn.
You're right. Yeah. I've seen this movie a couple of times now. We're going to draft a left tackle. It isn't not really a left tackle, but
that was Bill being cute.
Yeah. Kelvin Banks from Texas got his ass kicked by Georgia. So, I don't know that there's a guy that you look at and say, okay, this is a lock, stock, and barrel left tackle for the next 15 years. So then I think you go to the other positions, receiver. This Tedero McMillan is really interesting from Arizona. Travis Hunter, to me, is the most interesting draft prospect this year and maybe in a few years. He's going to be really interesting to dive into.
He's a top 2 guy. If you're the Patriots, you're not going to get him.
I mean, we'll see, because I think part of the problem with him is his strength is his versatility, right? So he's played 130 snaps a game, whatever it is, which is insane, insanely impressive. Is he going to do that in the NFL?
No.
Okay, so if he doesn't do that in the NFL, how high a level receiver is he? How high a level corner is he? Is he as good a corner as, say, Will Johnson from Michigan? Is he as good a receiver as Tedero McMillan from Arizona? That's the question you're going to be asking, right? And I don't know that it's a good business decision for him to be playing 130 snaps in the NFL either, when he gets there. And then there are a couple defensive prospects. The one to me that I've heard more about the last few weeks that's been compared a little bit to Micah Parsons is Jalen Walker from Georgia. So, again, I don't think it's the best year to have a pick way up high there. But, I mean, you have, again, I think you got probably 8, 10, 12 guys who have sort of separated themselves in that top
After
tier.
Cleveland's win last night, they moved behind the Patriots in the draft order. So the Patriots, as of this morning, have the 5th overall pick.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to have a top 5 pick. I mean, there's no question about it.
I mean, I think Cleveland, I don't know. I don't think Cleveland's done winning. I think Cleveland's okay.
Well, they tried last night.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't quit. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to quit, but Cleveland has far more talent than the Patriots.
Yeah. That was like I said, that was an awesome game to watch.
Everyone likes a snow game.
Well, no, it's not just I actually enjoy, I wouldn't want every game to be that way. But I think it's kind of cool to watch the degree of difficulty of everything.
A handful of times a year.
Yeah, everything is so hard. And just watching these elite, top level athletes struggle to complete a pass.
Yeah.
And then when they do, it's really cool to see some of the drops in the game, the Joku drop in the end zone. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there were some really egregious drops. And then you remember, well, these guys are that. The ball's probably like a brick right now,
right?
And their hands have snow all over them, all that.
All right, let's break, John, and then we can get to your thing. I'm also interested about the future of Aaron Rodgers and if he's done playing in the NFL or where he could go.
Another great week in Florham Park.
What are you going to do? Some of the things about Woody Johnson, I don't blame him. Going down and going, will you bench Aaron Rodgers? Having watched every Jets game, I've said the same thing.
Did you see what this Tony Pauline, who he piggybacked on one of my reports from a few weeks ago on Woody, and said that Woody's son Brick is more involved now. And Brick Johnson, I did a little internet sleuthing on Brick Johnson. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, you got to figure that if you're the son of an heir to an heir, that it's the bloodline gets a little thinner as you go down. That's good news. Maybe they'll sell the team. Who knows? All right. He does love the internet, apparently, Woody Johnson. He loves the internet. He loves sports talk radio. He loves it all. But I don't blame him for asking.
Might be listening right now.
I don't blame them for asking him. He doesn't like Manish Mehta. I know all these things. But he does. The thing is that I don't blame him for going to the coaches, because if I owned the team, I would have said the exact same thing. Why is Aaron Rodgers playing anymore? Can you guys bench him? And then if they said we can't, then I would have been like, all right. And then I'd keep my eye on things and I'd fire the guys. But that's me. All right, Bert's going to join us. Don't worry, it won't be the majority Jets. And we got a new segment we're debuting for Bert.
Yes.
With imaging and everything.
That's right.
It's a whole thing. You should be very nervous. All right, here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
One of the Joe Sacco era went well for the Bruins. They scored a 1-0 win over the Utah Hockey Club at TD Garden. Elias Lindholm's power play goal in the second period was the difference. It snaps the Bruins' 3-game losing streak. They're in Detroit tomorrow night. Celtics had an audience with President Joe Biden yesterday at the White House. Tonight it's back to work as they continue NBA Cup play against the Washington Wizards. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots are missing Dietrich Wise and fellow defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy for a second straight practice yesterday in Foxborough. They visit Miami on Sunday, and ESPN and others are reporting that team owner Robert Kraft has fallen short once again of election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Welch Welding and Truck Equipment in North Chelmsford, now offering end-of-the-season pricing on all Big Tex, Iron Bull, and American Cargo brand landscape dump and enclosed trailers. Buy now and save big. Go to welchwelding.com today. I'm John Wallach of Boston Tilton for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Shop Thanksgiving at Whole Foods Market. Get $3.65 by Whole Foods Market. No antibiotics ever. Fresh whole turkey.
More with FanDuel. Bert Breer is here, and we have a segment for him that we'll do at the end of this segment that we have come up with, a special one because Callahan has one. He came in with his own.
Yeah, Andrew Callahan showed up with his own bit and his own idea, his own segment within his
bold move.
segment.
Yeah, he was right away, like you said off the air about these owners like coming in and thinking they know everything. Callahan came in directing traffic.
Yeah.
Having me get in and out of breaks.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron Rodgers, I do think it's funny because I'll get your opinion before I say anything. Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't seem likely he's going to be back with the Jets as they're firing everyone, and they're going to have to bring in a whole new regime. And I'll ask you off the air about that. But there are people speculating. They're going like, I guess Aaron Rodgers probably won't be back with the Jets, which I have to assume is a fact. And then also, they're speculating that another team might want him, which seems odd to me. What are you hearing about Aaron Rodgers?
You know, I haven't dug as much into like other teams' opinions on where he would be coming out of this year physically. But he's clearly lost something. And
everything.
Well, I don't think he's lost everything. I think if you put him in a situation where you could protect him a little bit better.
Oh, how many Jet games have you watched?
A bunch.
Okay, because he doesn't move.
He can still throw it, though. He can still throw
in
it.
terms of his arm,
yeah,
it's not as accurate as it was by any stretch of the imagination, especially early in games. He's very erratic.
So you think he's just completely done?
If he's not, I don't know what's going on because he's completely immobile. He doesn't throw the ball downfield. He has plenty of time. I don't think the pressure rate on him is much below league average.
I don't think he. I question how much he wants to be out there right now, based on everything that's going on around him.
Well, then I wouldn't want him.
And I think it's like, I think you're right. Like, and I think I'd be very careful about acquiring him if I was another team, because I still think like if he were on a really good team right now with a lot around him, if he were in like say Brady's situation in 2020. I think he would. I don't think he'd be as good as Brady was, but I think he could still function out there.
I bet you if Brady,
like if he had like a functional offense where people who like players who are put together and not just like duct taped together as
he's got talented people around.
If Brady was the quarterback,
yeah, but how many of those are just names?
If Brady was the quarterback of the Jets in the same situation, the same level of skill he had when he went to Tampa, the Jets would have lost one game
at this point.
Yes.
They'd be 10-1.
Yes. There's no question about it. This Jets team has lost games, missed field goals, missed extra points.
All right, so
there's no way Brady loses at New England. There's no way Brady loses at home against Denver. There's no way Brady loses that Indianapolis game. That's 3 wins. Maybe he loses to Buffalo, maybe. I don't think he loses to the Steelers at home. There's a million things. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that they've lost 1 or 2 games.
So I'm not arguing that Brady with the Bucs is better than Rodgers now. No question. That's 100% fact. I think like if you had him in the right situation, I think you probably still get something out of him. Now it wouldn't be the MVP Aaron Rodgers of 2020 and 2021. I think that guy's gone. I also think we have to change the math on this a little bit now, because I think people got under the impression, and I probably fell victim to this some too, that Brady just changed the paradigm for older quarterbacks when he was just an outlier.
Sure.
You know, because of how badly you need to want it at that age to be able to perform at that level, and how much of your life has to revolve around it to make it work. We haven't seen anybody else do it. And I don't know that anybody else is going to be able to do it. You know, that's just He is a complete owl.
All right, we only have a second because we have to get this new bit. But I've never seen, now having seen Aaron Rodgers play for more than half a season, I've never seen the media carry the water of a player more than they are him. The way that he was advertised, I've never heard the media like uniformly deny that someone sucks this much. And, you know, and I'm not buying that these are football experts that are seeing things that I can't see. He unequivocally,
But I think we're talking about
undeniably is
degrees of
terrible.
it. I think we're talking about degrees of it. Like you're saying he's terrible. I'm saying he looks really average.
Okay, I think that he is the second to the worst starting quarterback in the NFL behind Will
That's
Levis.
why. See, yeah. I think he's better than Russell Wilson.
Okay. Well, Russell Wilson outgunned him in a game earlier this year.
I think he's better than.
Well, the fact that you have to think this long speaks volumes.
You're not going to have a time to think long because we have a new segment.
That's right.
Bert Blast.
Where is Nick today?
Lives in Duxbury by the bay. Bert stops by Dunks on the way. We love Bert. He's a lot of fun because he already went for a run. It's time for Bert's Blast.
Is that Nick? That's Nick?
That is Nicholas.
Nick's got some pipes.
Yeah, he really does. It's something else.
Nicholas.
All right. So, Bert, here's the deal. This is rapid fire. Bert, you're very long-winded. So this is going to be a challenge for you.
Yes.
We are going to rally off questions. You'll have how long, Hardy?
Depending on how long he goes, anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds.
All right. You have 10 or 30 seconds. This is rapid fire.
Work in progress.
You know, they're getting rid of Around the Horn. So
I know.
Everyone is weeping at airports across the country. Closed captioning is going to be not necessary any longer.
Once the question is asked, I'll decide if it's going to be a long or a short one, and that will determine how long I give you. How's that?
All right. Well, Hardy, since you are the referee of this, I will let you go first. Rapid fire style.
All right, here we go. Bert, it is do or die for the 49ers this weekend as they visit Green Bay.
You're supposed to be answering the question now.
Oh, yeah.
Do or
I
die.
just-
I don't get what you're asking me. You're asking me to pick the game?
Next question. Here we go.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement. It's
Okay.
do or die for the Niners.
Question mark. All right, here we go.
Is it do or die for the 49ers this weekend as they visit Green Bay?
No.
Well done.
Perfect.
You're out of your mind. They have to.
No,
they don't.
because
They don't win this weekend. They're
because
done.
The division is so average right now. Everybody's 5-5 except Arizona,
Okay.
6-4. So
they're-
it's because of the division.
All right,
You're not staying with the spirit of the game.
You're
Hardy.
at Green Bay.
You already veered off the spirit of the
I
game.
agree.
You're asking
You're wrong
follow
about
ups.
that.
Okay.
You're right. It is do or
The
die.
silence should have been enough, and he should just fired after the
okay.
silence. He's on the clock. If he doesn't understand it's a question, this is all questions. Go ahead, John.
Okay, we were talking about Robert Kraft getting to the Hall of Fame. We're falling short. Is this the year Rodney Harrison deservedly gets elected?
I don't think so, no.
Why not?
Because it's really hard to get in as a safety. And I don't know how close he's been. He 100% deserves to be in. I think he'll be in over the next 5 years, but not this year.
Wow. That's how the game is played.
That is how the
right
game
there.
is played. Excellent job. All right, here we go. Bert, give me a team in the NFL that could surprise in the last part of the season and make the playoffs that people don't think.
Well, Arizona doesn't count, right?
Nope.
Denver. I think Bo Nix is playing really well. Their defense, people aren't paying attention to it. Their defense is really good. I think Denver could wind up making the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how insufferable would Sean Payton be after that?
Oh, man.
That's another feather in his cap.
Is okay, I'm sorry. This is off, but I got to ask Bert. In all fairness, Bert has got great information. Is Sean, how do people feel about him around the league? Do they like him just as a guy?
You either really like him or you really don't.
Fair enough. I understand that as someone who I can relate to that. All right, here we go. Next question, rapid fire for Bert.
Bert, how worried is the NFL about Netflix and streaming Christmas Day games after the Paul Tyson fight?
Publicly not worried at all. Privately terrified.
Okay,
that makes complete sense.
Fair enough. Because no one really cared about that fight, but people
I wanted to watch it, and then I fell asleep on the couch before it started because they told us it was going to start at 10, and it wound up starting at, 11:30 or something?
No,
like
it was
that?
12:30. And I thought
that was one of those scenarios where I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, and all the lights are on and the TV's on, and yeah.
I watched it, and when it was glitching, I realized I don't care.
I want to know if that 60 million number is legitimate, though.
No, it's not.
Of course not.
According to everyone, it's not.
But I do think there were a lot of people like us, we all grew up in we were all kind of at a formative age when Tyson was just a killing machine. And I think there was just every time Tyson fights, there's that curiosity that could this happen?
Okay, I'll give you an exact. That you did very well with this bit. We'll get it. We'll refine it for next week. But I will.
I
tell
like
you,
it though. That's pretty good.
I will tell you this.
Time for Bert's
Okay, so Mark Cuban tells this story about how he came up with basically the formula for YouTube and everything. Sold it for whatever amount of $1 billion in Yahoo stock. He held on to the Yahoo stock, but then he went, I'm being greedy now. I'm going to just sell it. Got out at the right time. Here's the thing with the you're right, absolutely right about the Tyson fight. It brought in people our age, and even he's starting to age out of where my kids are. So that fight was the smart investment. That was Cuban getting the Yahoo stock. The person who puts on the next Jake Paul fight is going to pay, and he's going to people that hung on to the Yahoo stock, because that Yahoo stock, once Cuban sold it, dropped, and some of those guys don't have any money. So someone's going to really overpay for a fight that 90% of the people that watch this one won't care about.
How many, what percentage of the people that watch that fight do you think tuned in for Jake Paul? Though I have to think it's small, but maybe I'm just old.
I think we're old. I think it would be about half and half. But the danger to the Jake Paul thing is Jake Paul.
Half the people are watching him for Jake Paul.
My son had never heard of Jake Paul, and believe me, they have phones like everyone else. My son had never heard of Jake Paul before that, and the only reason my daughter knew Jake Paul was because she's a huge Olivia Rodrigo fan, and he was on Bizarre.
See, both my kids know Jake Paul and tune in specifically to watch.
They didn't. Do they know why they weren't supposed to like him? Do they actively watch Jake Paul videos anymore?
Not anymore. No.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
See, it's hard for I think it's hard for my kids to believe that the biggest sports star on the planet was a boxer, but he was in the 80s.
That was for us. So whoever he fights next, we're not going to care about. And my kids aren't going to care about.
Well, right.
So he's appealing to I guess 20 to 25-year-olds now.
And the reason why for people like us, I was 8 when the Spinks fight happened, right? I think the reason why, for us, why there's still that curiosity is after, and I think the Spinks fight was sort of the height of it, right? And then the Robin Givens things happens and everything else. Everything that happened after that, there was an excuse for, right? So it was oh, well, he's out of shape. Oh, well, he's got this going on. Oh, well, he just got out of jail. So it was always there was something taking away from his boxing.
Yes.
So there's always that thing in the back of your head where it's man, what would have happened if he had just locked in? And then there's that thought okay, well, if he locks back in, even though he's old, this guy was a killing machine.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing that you had
that curiosity is probably killed now.
The thing that you had with that fight was that that Tyson's obviously strong and a psycho, and maybe he connects. But then when it started, you realized neither of them were trying, so they were just going to take their money and run it, which is good. But we got to go.
We got to go, and I want to talk more about this Netflix thing maybe next week with you because
You won't be here when he's here. You coming Wednesday?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Boom.
They should They should be terrified.
You
just
based for another segment. If you want to talk Netflix, I'm
based on the numbers of what that Paul Tyson fight did and what other big games on holidays have done before, it's going to approach that, and they have 2 games to deal with on Christmas.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Hardy, you can call in. I'm sure you'll want to.
Yeah,
Get up, call in.
All right.
Or you can actually show up for work.
I'll tell you this.
I'd day off again.
Someone at the station, I've been told, is making fun of someone that technically works or at least is heard on this station. And I don't like that. It's time that we have to police this.
Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. You should take this point of this side here.
There's some station.
We're a team, and there's no room for this.
Interesting.
So we will investigate. I have not heard the audio, but it's been brought to my attention. I think, John, you might have heard it.
I did hear it.
I don't like this. So it's time for me to set the record straight. We got to get along around here. No more poking fun. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you, Bert. MMQB, guys.
It's time for Bert's.
98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins snapped a 3-game losing streak last night with a 1-0 home win over the Utah Hockey Club at TD Garden. Jonas Korpisalo made 21 saves in net for the shutout, and Elias Lindholm added a power play goal to make the debut of interim head coach Joe Sacco a win.
It feels pretty good. And I'm not going to lie to you, obviously. I think that to get our guys to get a win, too, was even more important, to feel better about themselves. And I think how we went about the game tonight was a business-like approach. I thought that, we had a couple of individuals that really brought some energy to our group tonight to lift the bench at certain moments during the game.
Bruins will visit Detroit tomorrow night. Celtics visit the Washington Wizards this evening. Randy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Yesterday, the Celtics visited the White House and met with President Joe Biden. In other NBA news, Luka Doncic has a wrist injury. He's out at least a week for Dallas. The Patriots are without defensive lineman Dietrich Wise and Jaquelin Roy at practice yesterday. That's the second straight day both men have missed the workout. They'll practice again today. They'll fly to South Florida tomorrow. The Patriots will. They'll play Miami on Sunday. ESPN and others are reporting that team owner Robert Kraft has fallen short of election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame again. Last night, Nick Chubb's second TD run of the night came with 57 seconds left, and it put Cleveland ahead to stay in a 24-19 upset home win over Pittsburgh. And as expected, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were voted unanimous winners of the American and National League MVP awards last night. The Red Sox' Jarren Duran finished 6th in the AL balloting. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you got to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I got Hardy to laugh early in the show today, so it's very good. Adam and I were talking about that. Hardy was legitimately laughing at something.
His face turned red.
I've seen that. Tears.
Very, very rare. He's a man like me. Especially when you're on the radio, it's very hard because you're trying to think of something to say next, and it's hard to completely get into the mode.
Yeah, we haven't heard a good cackle out of you in a long time.
Yeah, you have. But my cackle isn't like that. I blame being medicated and getting older.
Okay.
Is that I don't have that same. That was me. Okay, so when we first started in Boston, I was trying so hard that I'm the validity of that laugh I'm questioning.
Okay.
My cackling laugh, I don't know. There were a couple times. Like when we had Adolfo tell a joke, and he said, a lot of times people come up to me and they think, was the joke? They think I'm Mexican or they think I'm Irish?
I thought it was Mexican. He said, "Oh, thank you very much."
And he goes, and I say, "Yeah, thank you very much."
What part of Mexico are you from? And he said
something like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
And it was just, there was no setup.
Right.
No semblance of a punchline, and that Adolfo's brain worked like that did tickle me, and the chili guy. Those are two things that did legitimately tickle me. But now that I listen back to the chili guy, I think we might have that might have been dried up for
and yet
a while.
You have the buttons at your fingertips.
I do it to annoy Hardy, and I do it. You know I do that to annoy Hardy.
True, I do know that.
If something I think is mild is annoying someone, as you know, I will keep pushing that bruise.
Oh, I know what he said. He said, "What part of Mexico are you from?" I said, "Thank you. It makes me feel real good."
Yeah.
That's right.
And it was just such nonsense that Adolfo, I love Adolfo. I mean, I think even the listeners get that I love Adolfo. I've always loved Adolfo. And I'm still good friends with him. But when Adolfo first came here, it was really amazing. Like it was too fascinating. I had a friend in another market, my friend Jimmy in Atlanta that I used to work with, was like, I thought you were the host of the show. He's like, who's this kid? And I'm like, I don't know, but I can't stop talking about him. All right. So here's the deal: is that we're going down, remembering laughing, talking about Hardy laughing this morning, and that's the way that things should be. Radio stations, everyone should get along. No one should badmouth anyone. And then, I mean, you'll hear Felger on the off-air show where anything goes, and he can swear. He's so magnanimous. His take is, hey, look, the more competition, the better. Everyone should do very well. He wants everyone at other radio stations to get great ratings. So let's see. Let's have Maz leave his show and go start a competing show. I'm sure he'll be rooting for him all the time. He'll want everyone. It's easy to be saying when every other station is a jukebox that you want all this competition. He wants all the competition in the mornings to do so well.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
That like
it has not escaped me that he is.
Yeah,
he tends to be bulletproof from his point of view.
Yeah. Like
yes.
you notice all the money's pouring into these other morning shows, but that's what he likes. He likes that competition. He's perfectly fine with no one spending any money on any afternoon shows.
Yeah,
that he likes. He likes everyone. No problem with that. We'll see how much he likes it. If someone really goes, I'm going to get a super talent to get in there and go up against Felger. We'll see how much he likes how much the rising tide lifts all ships attitude of his works. I've always found that very interesting. He's so magnanimous. Gets trade publications like Felger's. He's got the right idea.
That's right. He's in it for the good of all of radio.
Which, in theory, you do want competition because that's good for everyone and it raises ad rates and it brings up the visibility of radio.
Raises everybody's games.
It raises everyone's games. But I call into question how much he wants that much direct competition. I will see.
Yeah.
Not easy. Yeah, Adolfo says you got it. Adolfo listens every morning.
Oh, nice.
So you understand my concern when I was told that Felger was speaking, was poking fun at someone heard on this very radio station. Let's listen together.
All right, and now here comes Joe Sacco. You're going to detect a little Boston in his accent. Yeah, a little bit. It's not full masshole, but...
No, this was the Pucks and Paddles broadcast that I heard went very smoothly.
Yes.
Where I left Felger alone. I didn't go up to any of them. Again, I thought about it last night. I thought, what a gift I gave Felger. And you guys would agree. My gift to them was I didn't even bother him.
I didn't speak to any of the three of them. I waved at Maz, and then I did talk to Maz on the phone later that night. But no,
because he calls you before he goes to sleep every night.
I went up and talked to Maz and Jim Murray.
Yeah,
see,
you
did
have
it
no
wrong.
social skills.
Why did I do it wrong? What did I do wrong?
You were bothering them, John.
Well, it was during a commercial break. It wasn't like I interrupted the broadcast.
That's what we like when people come in here during commercial breaks.
I actually don't mind it. But I'm the same way with phone calls. Like, I like it when people call me, but I feel real embarrassed to call anyone. So I wouldn't mind, John, if you came up during the show. But I think Felger...
Just thought it was the nice thing to do, Hardy.
We all agree that
Heartless
Felger would
slug.
hate that.
You're wrong.
I don't think Maz or Jim minds.
No, Maz did mind.
But they probably thought it was nice.
Yes.
But wouldn't you say err on the side of just don't...
With
Felger doesn't
yes.
want to be bothered.
Yeah, he definitely does not want to be bothered.
Right, and I wasn't going to sit around waiting for him to leave
no.
so I could go up to the other two. All right. So anyway, they're at Pucks and Paddles. Very good event. Everyone did a great job.
It's a little Meffa in there. And it was he and his brother, right?
Either way.
Both went to BU. Keep going. When did he graduate?
Can't believe anything in the internet these days.
When did he graduate BU? He was on those good BU teams.
It's been early 90s,
He was the same class as Sean Grandy.
Sean Grandy, who calls the games here at the Sports Hub.
Went to Boston University.
Voice of the Celtics for how long?
20 years.
Called how many championships? Couple at least.
2.
Let's see where this is going. I don't like
and
this.
a third that didn't go well. I mean, it was technically still a championship, but it was championship series.
I don't like.
Doesn't count.
I mean, how many has Gorman called? I mean, that's the point. You want the radio job. You get the call all the way through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
F the money.
I was around the same class as Sean Grandy. I remember Sean Grandy.
All right, so he remembers Sean from college.
Nothing wrong with this.
Probably buds. I mean, it's an urban school, so who knows? It's not like the kind of tight-knit campus you'll get at a Michigan State.
Right.
Or an Albion.
I was around the same class as Sean Grandy. I remember Sean Grandy. This is for the off-air show. He was fatter than I was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Fat-faced Felger?
Oh, I think he was.
Really? He was a chubby college kid.
What?
That's not right.
SMH.
Can't body shame someone like that. That's not right.
Especially if he goes
He
to
was
Disney.
fatter than I was.
Yeah, come on, Felger. You know better than that. We're going to get calls.
We're not getting calls.
No. We, the station, not we, this show.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Sorry, boss.
Ring, ring. Dang. Hello.
Somebody was fat shaming someone on your airwaves today.
I got to get my keys. It's been 2 weeks. It's time to get in. I got a fire to put out. I'm just kidding. He's in here all the time. I'm joking about that, of course. All right, we'll continue. I don't like playing this because I'm not co-signing on any of this.
Okay.
I don't know who makes fun of the play-by-play guys.
I know. That's
First
completely out of line to make fun of Sean Grandy.
In a personal shot of his appearance, he's a thin man.
He was fatter than I was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Fat-faced Felger?
Oh, I think he was.
Really? He was a chubby college kid. And I
Grandy was Grande.
and I went and did a...
back then he was known as Sean Grande.
Probably was.
That's a pretty good line.
I don't think it probably hit a nerve with him. He probably was called Sean Grande if he was a fat kid with the name Grandy. Ryan, you don't have to get low. I mean, you can stand up.
Oh, no, he's getting low because he noticed from the other room that one of my computer screens keeps blacking out.
No, but I think he's concerned about being on YouTube. And I don't
let
think
the
that's
people
a big
see
deal.
you.
Yeah,
come on,
Ryan,
part of the show.
Show that we got youngsters in here. We got youngsters.
I went and did a couple of shifts at the BU radio station just to start. I was in school of communications, and I think he did BU basketball games, and he happened to be there, and he dragged me to the back studio and made me listen to a montage he put together of. He forced you to air check him? His 3-point calls.
Oh, hello, Mr. Felger. Would you listen to my tape?
It wasn't like that. We were the same age. And, we were just whatever.
What do you think of this, Felger?
Something like that. Yeah. Hey, kid, come here. Let me listen. Listen to this.
So you're mocking him for trying? For caring about his craft?
Is this beneath you to go listen?
Did you hear Jay Stu's drop in there?
Yeah. Hey, listen to my tape.
Oh, crush me, please, Mommy.
This is like when Don Morocco went to Vince with tape of Sergeant Slaughter, and he said, "Can you watch it?" Huh? He's in the Memphis territory.
Oh, hello, Mr. Felger.
That's the sound of a real wimp, a fat wimp, not someone like the Hulkster who can tear his T-shirt off.
The mission statement is mission accomplished.
Well, I don't get that. Anyway.
Well, that was one of Sean Grandy's famous calls.
Yeah, after they won the championship.
Yeah.
That was as the buzzer went off for Game 5 when they won the championship. That was what he said.
But that was before he started sobbing. I mean, that's how much the guy cares about his job, and now we're going to poke fun at him.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Sean Grandy. I just want it to be known that
I love you, and I think you know that.
Thank you, buddy. I mean, that's the kind of heartfelt call that we should be celebrating instead of taking shots at the guy because, 30 years ago he was a big fatso? Who cares? He's thin now, and he's
a chubby college kid.
He owns the city. So what if he was a big fatso?
Grandy was Grande.
If you weren't fat in college, by the way, you weren't living your life correctly. College is the time to get fat. You have that freedom.
Pack on a few pounds the first couple of years, sure.
Yeah, when my parents first saw me when I came home for Thanksgiving, they were like, "What happened?" They said to me, they didn't say it to me, but they've said since, they were like, "Oh Jesus, what happened?" Because I went like a hairless thin kid and came back a fat hairy ape. That's what they thought of me.
But you know what? At some schools, it's strange. Like, I don't know if it happened as much where I went because you had to walk so much. Like there was no way around it. You were walking miles every
Well,
day.
I think the 99% alcoholic drinking rate of the student body I went offset any kind of walking.
Mm-hmm. Getting into your 10,000 steps.
Yeah, the kids in my fraternity, in fairness, that were surfers definitely like stayed fit because they would go out and surf. But those of us who did not surf, I mean, I think we were probably consuming fair to say 10,000 calories of alcohol at least 5 days a week.
Oof.
I think that's fair to say.
10,000 calories of alcohol? That's hard to do.
How much is in a Busch beer? How many calories are in a Busch beer?
Even if it were 200 calories, which I don't think it is, that would be 50 beers.
Okay, so say you had 12 beers.
Well, you said
No. I'm not done. 12 beers, Jaeger, Goldschlager. I mean, those are not. Say there's 200 calories in a Goldschlager shot.
No, can't be.
150.
Busch beer, 150 calories per can. It says here.
Well, maybe I overshot it. Let's say 6,000 calories, 5 days a week. Plus, you throw in bar food and calzones at 4 a.m.
Yep.
I mean, that's the whole thing. There was a place, D'Angelo's, like the sub place, that delivered. They delivered calzones till 4 a.m.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you'd be up, and then at 3 a.m. you'd be Jaeger chasing calzones.
Holy crap! 100 calories in a shot of Goldschlager.
Okay, so say you did 10 shots of Goldschlager. It's not that high in alcohol. You did 10 shots of Goldschlager and had 12 beers. I mean, you're talking a lot of calories.
It's 1,000 in Goldschlager, and then
probably about 1,000. So 2,000.
Yeah, let's call it 3,000.
3,000 calories in alcohol. Then you throw in a calzone and everything else. It's a whole situation. Well, listen, Sean, I apologize for the station, and hopefully Felger can make it right in his next magnanimous off-air show.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Cedric Maxwell, the partner of Sean Grandy, who is thin as a rail now, looks healthy as can be. Tear duct's working fine. Cedric Maxwell, who is also very thin despite his sugar intake. It's quite amazing. Will be joining us in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First bets let you get in on the action from the opening tip. You can bet on things like who will score the first basket, which team will be the first to 15 points, and so much more. And best of all, you don't have to wait the whole game to see if you won. Just look for Friday First in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. Visit FanDuel.com/Fred to claim your Friday First profit boost. 21 and older and present in Massachusetts. First online real money wager, only $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Hope is here. GamblingHelpLineMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Played smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234.
Hey, it's Old from my amazing team at the Albrecht Auto Group. When I needed that new ride, there was just one place I wanted to go. The Albrecht Auto Group. 7 locations, thousands of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. You'll get
We are Toucher and Hardy. Cedric Maxwell is the Celtics color analyst on 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Of course, the Celtics were at the White House yesterday. Cedric is brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing, and he joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hi, Cedric.
Hi, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
We're doing well. How was the White House?
Didn't go.
Oh, that's shocking.
No, I wanted to go, but D. Brown had something he was doing for the heritage at the tradition at the garden, and he wanted me to be his presenter. He was there. Tito was there. Gronkowski was there. Hamilton was there. It's a bunch of different people were there being honored. And D wanted me to go, and the team left the day when I was getting ready to do the event. So I pushed back, and I didn't go to the White House.
Have you been to the White House?
Never been to the White House before. And if I go, I guess I'll have to go on a tour or something because, again, like I told you before, I can't imagine some NBA team going over the next 4 years. So, I think that'll be the last call for alcohol for me.
Yeah, you were the first guy that mentioned it, and it's interesting. Gary Washburn's got a article up in the Globe about are the Celtics the last championship team to go to the White House? And it does raise an interesting question. Do you decide as a team to go to the White House? Because there's obviously, say the 49ers won the Super Bowl, Bosa would definitely want to go. There's guys in the NFL. Yeah. There's guys in the NFL. There's black guys in the NFL doing that Trump dance, as a celebration. There are. And so, I just wonder.
Maybe they're mocking him. I hope it's not a celebration of these black guys doing the Trump dance. I saw it. John Jones, Bones, Holmes, whatever his name was, do the Trump dance, and I was like, I almost threw up in the back of my throat.
Well, that was unironic, Cedric. That because he's got those ties to the MMA, Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think that one was ironic. So, but you do make a good point. So you wouldn't go to the White House if the Celtics won when Trump's in office.
I don't think I'd be invited. First of all, you have to be invited to go someplace, and I don't think that present White House is going to invite any WNBA teams, any NBA teams. Maybe a football player or two might go, maybe Major League Baseball, but I can't see some of those sports going, to the White House at this particular time because of the political color at the White House.
I think I seem to remember maybe at the end of Trump's first presidency, they kind of got out in front of it, like you're saying, Max. Like you said, well, you don't have to worry about them declining the invitation. We're not going to invite anyone anymore.
You're breaking up with me. It's too late. I already broke up with you.
Well, it's I hate when politics and sports kind of collide like that. But in this particular thing, I think if you think about what Steve Kerr said and how he was one of the people on the podium talking at the Democratic National Convention about Mr. Trump and everything that he did not like. There's another gentleman down in San Antonio, Greg Popovich, who expresses dislike. So I can't imagine the NBA having that following where they're going to go or they would be invited.
Okay, so you were in the NBA for a long time and a leader, obviously. Your number is retired in the Boston Garden rafters. You're a finals MVP. I'm giving your resume to the kids. So, what would it, NBA teams, not football team, there's not, 70 guys that would go to the White House. It's a rather small group. How divisive would that be if half the team went to the White House and half didn't, in your opinion?
I don't think they would like it. With the guys that I know now, I can't feel that, the Tatums or the Browns of the world, Horfords, any of these brothers of color that I know. I don't think Pritchard would go. He's from Oregon. So I don't see a lot of people standing up to say they were going to go. So, and it's done really by a vote among the players. And if the players wanted to go, they would say it. And if they were invited, then they would go. But the White House has got out in front of that already. And as I said last week when I talked to you guys, this will be the last NBA team that will go into the White House over a celebration for the next 4 years.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, any way you slice it, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's fairly unprecedented, you would think. So it's very, very interesting. So,
well, I mean, what team went during Trump's reign during that particular time when he was there?
Probably
the college kids went. The many hamburgers and French fries.
Yeah,
he
because
fed the college kids. I know that after they won a national championship.
Right.
Well, I think that most of these kids right now, because of that money they get, I don't think they need a damn free Big Mac. I think they're good. I think they're okay right now.
Do you wish you played in the era of NIL?
Good God, yes, man.
Okay, you do.
Come on.
Okay, but
with the money, that's only thing that I think that is tough about that is the fact that you have a teammate that's sitting beside you who is on scholarship, which is great. But if you're telling me this other guy beside me is making $5 million a year and all I'm getting is my scholarship money, it would seem like it would be divisive. But that is the real world, gentlemen. Some guys are going to make those big bucks and some aren't. So I guess kids are introduced early. And I tell you what, I don't know how Cedric Maxwell would be if he was making $1 million a year in college as a freshman.
So where did you go to college?
UNC Charlotte.
Okay. You were there for 4 years? How long were you there?
I was there 4 years, and the best thing we got during that time, we got a $15 laundry check every month.
Very good. But did you like your time in college? Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely loved it.
Okay, so here's my point, Cedric, is that you had that experience. I imagine you were a big shot in Charlotte, like everyone loved you. You still have like a fan base there and everything. Would you trade that for the opportunity to transfer 4 times and pick up that money that you made in the NBA? Like, looking back in your wisdom now, would you, and you can be honest, you can say yes, would you trade that experience you had in college for transferring 3 times and getting paid?
No, I wouldn't do that. I think that maybe one time I would do it, but just to get a chance to know the community that you're in. The college environment, I think it was a big experience. You knew all the local things, you know how to get here or there. But if I went to a school every year, and if I change schools every year, I mean, that's taxing on anybody. Even if you're going there with the money, I think that, you're going for the wrong idea. Some of it, the college experience to me was invaluable. I absolutely loved it. You love the co-ed dorms, you love the food, you love the cafeteria. Now, Cedric Maxwell didn't talk much about going to class, but, I did go to class, but that wasn't on my resume.
Did you ever make love in a co-ed bathroom or in a bathroom on a co-ed floor?
Yes, I did.
So did I.
Oh.
Yeah.
High five.
Several times. Several times. And, you think about it in that way. And I'm sure John Wallach can't talk about this.
Oh, John was a whole group
John,
situations.
Are you there? John, are you there, John?
I'm listening, Max. Go ahead. Ask a question.
He went to school in upstate New York. It was just orgies everywhere.
Well, we had nothing else to do. It was 70 below zero in February.
Absolutely. That bathroom was like the best of CBGBs.
John, let me tell you, that's the best time to have an orgy, okay? When it's that cold.
But why in the bathroom? Because I had a co-ed dorm and nobody had.
I had a roommate using my room, so I needed to find something else.
Mine was just the excitement of the shower, like being naughty in the shower.
Okay.
My roommate my freshman year moved out. I've shown you the article. I think I Instagrammed the article that my roommate wrote for the school paper about how crappy a roommate I was because I was having sex in the dorm while he was in there.
No, but I would like to read that.
It's up on @FredToucher on Instagram.
Really?
It's up. The Sandpiper is the Rollins College newspaper, and you can find the artitle.
Interesting
about me.
Yeah. Did he actually use your name?
No, but his name was Sean, and I can't even remember his last name. But
I know Sean Grandy. That was your roommate.
That's right, and that's why I carry such a grudge. Felger called Grandy fat on the air. He said he was fat in college.
Wow.
He said his name was Sean Grande.
Sean has told me many times that he gained weight when he was in college, that he was bigger. So I can't imagine that he wasn't. Here's the thing that was really interesting about last week, because before we go on, I love this, but I love the fact that the Celtics beat Cleveland, and all the national media right now are saying Cleveland's caught up. They've caught up. Look at how the score was. Do you guys understand that Porzingis, one of the biggest weapons out there, isn't involved in this game that you just had, and you beat Cleveland, and easily you should have beat them by 20 if you didn't let your guard down. But I just think the Celtics are still far more superior team than Cleveland.
That was a miraculous changing of subjects.
Well, did you know? Get back. That's what they taught me. That's what our Grand Poopah Mary told me. She said, "This is how you reverse and go the other way."
Okay.
So you've had a conversation. Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
of course. Then you were always brought into the office. You know, there's Rick Rassner, there's, Mary, those people bring you into the office from time to time.
Okay, yeah, I was not going to say anything mean for the record. I was going to say that's what Felger did was inexcusable. That's what I was going to say.
Right.
All right,
making fun of somebody. But that game the other night, Max, you talk about the difference between those two teams, whether or not Cleveland is caught up. The Celtics, the way they handled business at the end of that game, one sequence in particular that you and Sean were both very complimentary of. It started with on the Celtics end of the floor, Al Horford getting the rebound. It was the outlet to Tatum who dribbled around. He found Pritchard for the three-pointer. It wasn't quite a dagger because it still ended up being a 1 or 2 possession game at the end. But it was complementary team basketball that involved, 4 guys touching the ball during that sequence from the defensive end to the shot being made. And that's what I think Cleveland and a lot of other teams are missing right now. Multiple go-to guys in the moment that are either going to step up or be relied upon to hit a shot. And that's what happened in that sequence.
Man, do you want my job? Damn, that was really good.
Right,
I like the way you broke it down because that truly is what happened. The fact that everybody was involved, and I think that's what makes the Celtics really hard for me to go against because when Porzingis comes back, there are no weaknesses at all. And one reason I think the Cavaliers played so well is Mobley was really good, but when he has to contend against a 7'5" man in the post, I think it changes what they do. The opportunities again, and here's what we don't talk about much now. Nobody's talking about Joe Mazzulla anymore. What a bird brain he is, how he couldn't coach and all this stuff. Joe Mazzulla's done a nice job of understanding his players and getting everybody really to believe and being on one page, even when you have a superstar like Tatum and Brown.
Just in a general basketball sense, Max, I want to get your opinion about Joel Embiid, who is, by all accounts, a great basketball player, but can't seem to get out of his own way, both on the floor and with his teammates.
Sean Grandy asked me, my broadcast partner, make sure I say that again. He asked me, did I think that Joel Embiid could win a championship? And I said, no, especially not on Philadelphia. I think he's become toxic in that environment. If he goes someplace else and he does not have to be the main man, he has to start being a complimentary player. I think that, he gets his chance maybe to win it. But if they stay with what is in Philadelphia now with Joel Embiid and how toxic it's gotten there, they do not win.
All right, very good. Cedric Maxwell, always enlightening, especially that you've had meetings with management about how to back off of Sean Grandy conversations.
You know what? This is my first damn rodeo, so some things I've learned to kind of sidestep. Like when you see that brown pile out in the middle of the street or walking down the sidewalk, you sidestep it. The people that step in it, then your head is in the clouds someplace.
That's right, and I've often been referred to as dog-ass, so I do appreciate the metaphor. Yeah. All right, thank you, Cedric. We appreciate
All right,
it.
gentlemen. Have
Thanks,
a good
Max.
one.
Talk to Max.
There you go, the great Cedric
Bye-bye.
Maxwell. I do think that's funny that Mary and Rick had a meeting, and if Fred brings up, I'm a disease, if Fred brings up Sean Grandy, you just tactfully get out of the conversation.
How did he pronounce Rick's last name? Ratsnurger?
Ratsnerd.
Ratsnerd.
I thought he said nerd, but I could be wrong.
Raxass or something.
He's probably known Rick for how many years?
Oh, God, 20 at least.
I would think.
More than that.
Yeah.
Because Rick used to be responsible for the broadcast, right? He's the PD of the station now.
But no, back once upon a time when the rights were elsewhere, Rick would be there in the building.
So you could excuse him not knowing Rick's name if his only relationship with him was as the PD of the radio station. But the idea that Rick works so closely with him and Cedric still doesn't know his name.
I bet he doesn't know my name. The last time he addressed me, because he obviously knows John and he knows you, but
I don't know.
It was the last time he for some reason was compelled to address me by name was back on the midday show, and he referred to me as the guy in the hat. Because I was the only one wearing a hat
Curious
that
George
day.
situation?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
You're the man with
when I
the
used to
man
go to
with
the
hat.
game with my kids, I used to try to act like a big shot, and I'd use Cedric as a way to get better seats too. I've told you about that.
Yeah.
That if security sees you go down, they might like question you, but if you shake Cedric's hand, then all questions are answered.
Yes.
And Cedric never knew who I was. But I'm getting the feeling that I'm a bit of a problem around here. I have a feeling that there's conversations.
Just now?
But I didn't realize the extent of secret conversations that are going on, that there's a whole like tunnel network of advice, like if Fred does A, you do B. Have you had?
I have not. I can tell you
Hardy, have
honestly,
they had
I
a
have
meeting
not
with
had
you
that
on how to
conversation.
handle
No.
situations?
No, but I do notice when you get complimented by upper management for simply not causing problems.
Yes. Now that you mention it, that makes sense.
for pucks and paddles?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, ask John the story of that. That didn't come out of nowhere. There had been complaints about.
There was
me.
a certain year.
I know, but it's like that you get praised.
I thought it was a little condescending. I think it was to be condescending is the way I took it. I didn't take it as legitimate
If I were
praise.
you, I could be offended on any number of levels. They're having conversations about you behind your back with guests on the show about how to avoid the problems that you create. Yes,
Yeah.
you are a problem.
Absolutely. I didn't realize to what degree. But here they are paying me. It's interesting how this all works. All right. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. We'll be back.
We'll see if you get paid. Is it payday?
No, believe me, it's not. You get a divorce, you'll know when payday is.
No.
All right.
Gotta wait another week.
Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins opened up the Joe Sacco era with a 1-0 win over the Utah Hockey Club at TD Garden last night. They'll visit Detroit tomorrow night. Celtics visit the Washington Wizards tonight. Brandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Celtics visited President Joe Biden at the White House yesterday. Patriots are without edge rusher Dietrich Wise and defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy again at practice yesterday. They'll practice again this morning. They'll visit the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. And as expected, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were both voted the unanimous winners of the American and National League MVP awards last night. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the Hair Doctor of Hardy, Wes Welker, and Rob Ninkovich. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach of Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Save big with clearance prices on all 2024 models at Bernardi Honda during Happy Honda Days. Come in and get our lowest prices of the year on every vehicle in stock. Plus, save even more with great financing options. Get started at BernardiHonda.com.
Full house.
his torso. I'm Mrs. Hayes, his secretary.
Do you understand how?
He made an honest woman out of me.
Do you understand how Robert Kraft, though, is very disappointed for once again being passed over for a Hall of Fame induction?
I said, Robert Kraft, why you go to that spa? Call Mrs. Hayes.
Really?
I lotion my hands. They're soft.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So you kind of branched out after Mr. Hayes.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know the old lady. Shut your eyes, Wallach. Let Mrs. Hayes take care of you. I own the Canton Bulldogs. I was heir to the Canton Bulldogs. Allow me to work my magic on you, Wallach. You can't run away. This little rascal goes up to 20 miles an hour.
Now, is
Am I good here, honey?
As your late husband will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, there are still questions about him not wanting to pay players initially in the early days of professional football.
No. That was money you scatter around the back seat in order to catch people. Come in here. There's a few shekels. And then they get in there and you go, now you're in the devil's three-way, your car. And then now you own this car. Once you make love in it, you own the car.
The door
I'm Mr. Hayes' wife.
The door closed and it was over.
His secretary. You understand?
I got
Were your parents happy when you...
Plato's Retreat is what we called the top of his desk in the showroom. It was like an aquarium of love. The townspeople used to come by and press their noses against the showroom window.
I have to imagine it was somewhat scandalous, though, when you ended up marrying...
Not when you own the newspaper. The Canton Gazette. Bury that story. You know what? If you wrote an article about what was going on in that showroom, we write an article about you in the obituary. We killed people on it.
How was the nickname Bulldogs come up with for your late husband's football team?
He was, I'll tell you this, is that he would make, when he would have his release, he would make this scrunched up face like a bulldog. He'd go, he said, and we go, Mr. Hayes, you look like a bulldog. And he goes, that's right. I'm going to make these people go out there and tackle each other and make face. I feel good, Miss Hayes. Oh, you're the best. I'm the best secretary you ever had. Oh, Miss Hayes, you're the best, he would say. I say, make that face. And then he'd make the face. I know he feel good.
How are you taking dictation?
Huh? I write down what he said. It wasn't hard. Mr. Hayes had a calm voice. Easy voice. He could get you to do anything.
As long as he made that face.
I said, Mr. Hayes. He said, what? I said, I'm under the desk.
Miss Hayes, I don't even know if you're a real secretary. You don't know what dictation is. Could you use dictate in a sentence?
Yeah, you... You invite Tate over.
That might be the best question of the whole segment. It was pretty good.
Don't challenge my vocabulary. You'll win every time.
All right, very good. Kendra Middleton is here. She will join us. She's very excited. We will go around the NFL. She'll pepper in her betting thoughts and everything else.
Class up the joint.
Sure.
That's what she does.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
ZFM and HD Boston.
Patriots!
From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headline.
Bruins 1-0 over the Utah Hockey Club at TD Garden last night. Brad Marchand saw Elias Lindholm's power play goal in the second period account for the offense for the Knights.
Obviously just happy. Just a huge goal for us. That's one of those things, not just for the team, but for the power play. I think we really needed. It was a big moment. It's a great way for him to step up, and he's done it for many years across the league. We're lucky to have a very smart player all the way around the ice, and it's a big goal. Like I said, not just for him, but for our group and our power play.
Jonas Korpisalo added 21 saves for his second shutout of the season. The win snaps the Bruins' three-game losing streak. They're in Detroit to play the Red Wings tomorrow night. Celtics had an audience with President Joe Biden yesterday at the White House as they held a final celebration for their recent NBA championship. Tonight it's back to work. They continue NBA Cup play against the Washington Wizards in D.C. Everybody except for Kristaps Porzingis is healthy. Randy and Max had the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Patriots are without Dietrich Wise and fellow defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy for a second straight practice yesterday in Foxborough. They visit the Miami Dolphins Sunday. ESPN and others are reporting that team owner Robert Kraft has fallen short of election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame yet again. And as expected, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were voted unanimous winners of the American and National League MVP awards last night. Red Sox center fielder Jarren Duran finished 6th in the AL balloting. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Wilbur Theater. Comedian Andrew Santino is coming to the Wilbur on his free Peach Tour for 4 shows, Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Tickets on sale now at thewilbur.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston Till for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day.
right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
We are Toucher and Hardy. Kendra Middleton is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. She was the social media liaison for the Pucks and Paddles tournament. Kendra, you saw that. You saw Hardy. Did you see Hardy when he was all upset when he lost?
He wasn't upset. I have it on camera.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he was pretty upset afterwards.
No, he was. I think he handled it very well.
I put on a brave face for the camera, but in private conversation, Fred, that's one of those things I should have told you. I'm going to tell you something in confidence now.
Yeah.
But I'm very upset about the loss, but I didn't say that, so it's fair
I could
game.
see why you'd want to keep that close to the vest.
Thank
I
you.
apologize. I'm working on these things. We're always a work in progress. But but here's the question, Kendra. If someone bid on you to play, spent upwards of over $1,000
I know what you're about to do.
To play ping pong with you, and they said, look, all I want you to do is come to this thing 4 hours early.
Show up at noon, practice.
And practice with me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have practiced with the man? I mean, it's the least you could do.
Not 4 hours.
That's the kind of commitment you have to get in. I mean, that would get you over the semifinal hump.
I wasn't just sitting at home watching Andy Griffith. I had my son's parent-teacher conferences that day, which I ended up screwing up anyway.
Reschedule those things. I mean, that's
I
what
had
for.
rescheduled, and they were supposed to be in person at 3 o'clock, and I instead rescheduled virtually, and I had them all scheduled starting like earlier in the afternoon. And then I missed an email about the passcode, so I only actually logged on to one of them. I ended up emailing back and forth with his teachers instead. So look, I made a mess of things. I made a mess of things with the parent-teacher conferences. I made a mess of things on game point in the third match of the evening. I made a big oogie mess. I don't know how many times I need to apologize.
I think you're being too hard on yourself. You kicked his ass.
I didn't play.
We didn't play.
I know, but you outlasted him by a lot.
Look at.
But the guy I played with, he said, I want to leave. He's like, I'm getting out of here. And I said, you sure? And he goes, yeah, I got a restaurant to run. And I was like, and so he was like, I've had enough. I've had enough of Fred. And I went, I respect that decision. Mm-hmm. We got along famously. So, I mean, did you see what I put on Instagram? A guy made, several people handed me baseball cards of myself.
I know. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so those are up on
too.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And by the way, in our stories, Nick, or was it Nick? Who put that up? I guess Nick found the story of that my roommate in college wrote about how bad a roommate I was.
Oh, I didn't see that, but I wish that I did.
It's up on stories. It's at
Right
Toucher
now?
and Hardy. Yes.
Oh, yeah, you can
and,
find it.
at Fred Toucher. It's in the stories. Yes, absolutely.
I'm absolutely going to read that and save that ammunition for later.
You have any roommates in school that did that to you?
I had some crazy roommates in school for sure, but it's because I went to school in Alabama for my first 2 years. I lived with crazy Alabama girls, nuts.
Because you went to Clemson, Auburn.
One of them called the cops on me one time, which was crazy.
For what?
She thought that I was smoking cigarettes in my room.
Why would the police be involved with that?
Thank you. Because she's from Alabama and thinks that cigarettes are illegal.
Why were you smoking cigarettes in your room?
I wasn't. It was incense.
Well, that's worse.
I know.
She knew you were some
I would have called the cops on you.
Tool of the devil.
I would have done that.
She also called the cops on me a second time because I called my dog a bad word. I can't say it on the air, but I was I was talking to him in a little dog voice, making fun of him, and she called the cops because I called him a bad word.
What did the police do?
They left.
But they came?
Yeah, and she wrote an email to the front office of our complex about how insane I was for calling my dog a bad word and burning incense in my room.
There's no way she graduated from Auburn, right?
She did, and she's a teacher now.
No way.
God. She got married the week after we graduated to the boy that she'd been with, who was a preacher.
Baby. SEC.
Oh, do you guys know about Ring Before Spring?
No.
Oh, Ring by Spring. So in SEC culture, if you don't have a ring on your finger to get married by spring of your senior year, you have basically failed yourself. It's called Ring by Spring because
because you're getting your MRS degree.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, so the idea is the competition there is to find the man who will make the most amount of money.
I think it's just to find a man.
Okay. Well, that's great. You should make those decisions in college. You should really buckle down into a lifelong commitment when you're 22.
Through the alcohol and drug haze. It's always a plus.
Because you're not going to change at all as a person from the age of 22 until you die.
Right.
And you really, if you think about it, you've already lived 1/4 of your life. So why not just really bog it down right away? That's an excellent thing. Did people make fun of you because you weren't finding a husband?
Oh, people thought that I was nuts because I wasn't in a sorority. I've said this before, I am obviously not a completely straight woman. And at the time, I was a vegan. So people in Alabama thought that I was crazy.
You were pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Were you wearing those shirts where the like the one you're wearing now that has the thing that goes over the thumb? Were you wearing those in college?
Yeah. But only when it was cold outside.
Another problem.
And because I was a bartender, when it was cold outside,
why don't you take that thing off of your thumb? As long as you're just sitting here with us, because it's distracting me.
What?
All right, so Kendra has on this spandex situation where
what's the problem?
The sleeves go over her hand.
So what?
It has thumb holes. Why?
So
is this
what?
overstimulating you?
It's not. No, it's.
I don't know. Well, look at me.
It's stupid, and I want you to take it off your hand.
Well, I'm definitely not going to now. I'm going to wear every shirt I own like this that I can find for the next Friday, every Friday to come.
Now you know.
Unhook the shirt
Double
from your
hook 'em.
hand.
Double hook them now.
How do I put my whole hand through this?
You want to really make this bad? Let's do it. Let's go off for it. Oh, Kendra.
I'm in sport mode, Hardy.
You're not in sport mode. You're sitting here talking on the radio.
I'm in sport mode.
Sport mode. That you shouldn't have said that. That's
Why?
not right. That's weird.
Think of a bunch of things that
I
annoy
am
Hardy
weird, Wallach.
and just throw them at him right away.
True, but you don't have to announce that immediately. Let it breathe a little bit. Let people figure that out for themselves.
No.
Okay.
You don't like that though. You don't like her having the sleeves on her hand.
Yeah. Do you not own shirts like this?
Only by accident. I have one super old, not faux vintage, but real vintage Michigan State sweatshirt that has thumb holes in there like that. And sometimes I'll look, hey, look, I look like one of those people who put their thumbs through the freaking sleeves of their shirts like a dum-dum and walk around with it.
I cut holes
and
in
then
my
I take it
sweatshirt.
off.
No, I cut the holes in my sweatshirt so my thumbs stick out.
I cut the sleeves off my sweatshirt so the guns come out.
Belichick
Okay,
style.
Bill.
I like that.
Yeah, he looked really cool.
One step away from a fisherman costume.
Tell me. Have you ever put a guy on your Instagram that you were dating?
No. Actually, maybe
Okay.
once when I was like 19.
Okay, would you have the desire, like if you were dating someone, would that be like, because we're talking about Belichick, I'm not even going to do the making fun of him thing. Belichick's very, very old. His girlfriend is 24. She dresses him up and stuff and puts him in Instagram pictures. I'll ask you, why do you think she's doing that?
Dressing him up like that?
Or just insisting that he take Instagram pictures with her?
Probably so that people see them together.
Okay, so what do you think if you, as a young woman, what do you think her motivation is with that?
I know what I would assume that it's not because she's this mature person wanting to date an 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
Personally.
Because I have never been asked at any point to take any photos for social media by anyone.
But I would never post my significant other. I mean, like maybe on like my private Instagram or something.
No, you would do it like so maybe like your friends from out of state could see or something, or if it just happened. I'm talking about posed shots.
It is part of the courtship process for a lot of people, though. And
is it though?
Yeah, I think so. They want it out there.
It's
like
because
for famous
I'll tell you why.
It's an identity thing, though. It's like this is this is my identity online, and now I'm with somebody. I want everyone to see that I am now part of this couple.
It's
maybe
because
I'm going to be kept a secret by people.
I mean, if you look at my wife's social media, you would think she was a single mom. Yeah, I'm barely there.
It's because
she's
my
embarrassed by me.
The reason I think that happens is because people want people to know that you're with someone, aka they want people to know. Girls personally, it's like the last guy I was seeing wasn't posting girls online, and this other girl found out I existed. They'd been together for 3 years, and I got the "Hey girly, I've been with this guy for 3 years" thing. I think it's more so just this is my person. If you see anything suspicious type of thing. It's not that people want to put their significant other on their social media. It's like if they're cheating on me, tell me type of thing.
That's why she has Belichick up there?
No, I'm not saying in that instance because that's completely
he's a wild
different.
man.
But I mean, like people my age, unless your Instagram is just for your real friends and family, it's a private situation. But if it's public, it's like hey, this is my person tag.
Do you know any of your peers that you think would date a 72, 73-year-old
Yes.
man? You do?
Yes.
And because they're into it?
No.
So you're saying, because we have a male audience, a big, huge male audience. If you are of a certain age,
you got a chance.
You have to be thinking that there's an ulterior motive here.
Yes.
Okay. I get it. I understand.
It's just unless one of my friends. No, none of my friends would find that attractive. They should like, what is there to find attractive about that?
Because there's a MILF movement, but the GILF movement has not gotten. And men are disgusting, but that is not even blown up. I don't know if there's a grandpa movement. Usually, the adult films keeps up with cultural norms. Like when big butts got into fashion, porn was right there. The MILF movement, as I've explained many, many times.
You have.
I mean, they had that going before this whole cougar thing was happening, before the Real Housewives was happening. Nail and Palin was out far before that.
True.
I think it's because like people see like the MILF situation as like a confident older woman who's taking care of herself and her kids and stuff like that. I think like the independence is what people find attractive.
A MILF though is like a hot 40 or 50-year-old. It's not
an 80-year-old.
It's not an 70 and 80-year-old. That's getting weird. Like Ron Jeremy,
grandma.
Ron Jeremy's done Ron Jeremy's a piece of crap, and I knew that a long time ago. But Ron Jeremy, and I said it on the radio a long time ago. He's a horrible, horrible person, a horrible man. As soon as I found out all this stuff, a comedian told me all about him, and then I would not. When people were, you weren't Ron Jeremy, no. So people knew about this stuff. But Ron Jeremy has done everything disgusting you can do in pornography. And like the thing that was like the albatross above him was, I can't believe you like had sex with an 80-year-old woman. That was the thing. That was like the bar that people went, that was too far.
You know, you can pinpoint the timeline, though, when the big butt thing became big in the internet.
Kim Kardashian.
No, it's the time when Wallach went from dial-up to fiber optic service in his home. And if you can find the billing cycle, boom, That's when it happened.
Unapologetically, a butt aficionado, and you've been your whole life. This was not with the
No, I
times.
kind of evolved out of the breast and into that.
Wait, who's
when
your
in my
celebrity
20s.
crush?
What's that?
Who's your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush? Well, it was Kardashian, Kim Kardashian
Maybe
for
that
a
made me
while.
laugh.
You're a Kardashian lover?
No, I don't like the show. I think the show's
Just keep
ridiculous. I don't like the shows. I think the show's ridiculous. I never watched the
Was
show.
that huge? I
don't watch the show.
All right, what's the Hank Azaria show where he plays the alcoholic baseball announcer? Anyway, the first season of it, you can find it.
Brockmire.
Brockmire. The first season of it, there's a close-up of his face, and it slowly pans out.
Yeah.
And he's resting on this butt.
Yeah.
And he's going through the evolution of how butts became
Sure.
the thing. It's actually great. It's
Jennifer,
brilliant.
Jennifer Lopez was there for a while. You know.
That's a good one. I respect that one.
Yeah. But isn't it funny because I have the butt thing is completely I don't get it.
Mhm.
I'm not for or against it. It doesn't. It has no effect on me.
Freedom of choice.
Full circle now, we're back to boobs with Sydney Sweeney. She's the hot girl right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that big breasts I don't think are
Not
ever
feeling it.
going away. You don't feel it.
Sydney Sweeney? I think she's good looking, but she's not at the top of my list.
All
no.
right. Very good. Well, listen, we're finding out so many things. All right, we will talk about the NFL and talk
Yes.
about football. But I am always, I like my Belichick talk.
I do.
You do.
And so I took a step back there and I let everyone else take control.
That's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
Good college football card this week, too.
All right, we'll get into it, and we'll get into why Notre Dame fans very vocal on the email. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and you can do us the favor of watching us on YouTube. Go ahead. What's going on? Let's go around the NFL.
All right. Well, we didn't get a chance to ask Bert earlier during the Bert Blast segment, but I'm wondering how many head coaching vacancies there will be after this season. When you include the New York Jets, who, of course, have a coach right now, but there are people clamoring for the job long-term, among them Rex Ryan.
That's what's going to separate me from all these other guys you're going to bring in. You know, your Grudens, your whoever, whatever. Give me a break. They ain't New York Jets. I'm all about the Jets. And the great thing is, all right, yeah, second chance. You get a second chance at it and things like that doesn't happen very often. Yeah, well, when it does, it's usually special. And so we'll find out if I get that chance or not. If not, then, you know, hope they have one hell of a guy in place because I still want to be a fan of the Jets. I still want to be.
You could, look,
you could do a lot worse?
You could do a lot worse. He was their best coach in my lifetime, so you might as well.
I don't love it. I think it's just feels like a retread. There's going to
Well,
be
it is
so
a retread. It's the definition of a
yeah.
retread.
There's just going to be so many guys available at the end of this season that I think deserve a shot. Well, let me ask you this: do you think that Shanahan deserves a shot before him, or do you think Cliff Kingsbury deserves a shot before him right now because they're in the game?
I think a lot of people deserve a shot before him. I think what they want to do is, and I've talked to some people about this, is Aaron Glenn. Is that they want Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, who was a defensive back for the Jets, and they think that they can bring that full circle. So why not bring in another defensive guy?
Parcells is the best.
The offense just feels like the problem.
Yeah, Rex Ryan had better success.
Parcells went to the AFC Championship game, right?
Rex Ryan went to 2 with Mark Sanchez.
All right, you win there. All right, that's fair.
They beat the Patriots in Gillette.
Parcells
in
had
the playoffs.
Testaverde, though, right?
Parcells had Testaverde,
who was lousy up until Parcells got him.
Testaverde was great with the Jets, was great for the Jets. He's the best quarterback they've had in my lifetime.
That Jets win over the Patriots at Gillette is the most shocked I think I've palpably felt a crowd feel before at a live sporting event. People could not believe it was happening.
Yeah, Bart Scott has a whole career in media undeserved because of that game. That made Bart Scott a legend in New York.
All right, moving on to another could-be coaching vacancy in Dallas, where Jerry Jones was asked about the prospect of drafting a quarterback and that quarterback's father to be the head coach.
I think we're way ahead of ourselves relative to when and if he decides to go into coaching in the NFL.
That's right. So let's just pump the brakes on
Didn't
this a
say
little bit.
Didn't exactly say no.
Well, they have got the
9th pick.
Well, and also they've got Colorado just got a kid to commit, the number 2 quarterback.
From Georgia.
Yeah, the number 2. He decommitted from USC. He had committed to USC as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And so, can you imagine if you recruit that kid, he flips his what school he's going to go to, and then you quit.
I got to imagine there's something in there where he can flip again if Deion.
No, he can flip again,
Yeah.
but it just would seem like a terrible thing to do. This kid his life has been planned out. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a sophomore in high school. I don't know why he's not the number 1 QB prospect, but he was and then you get him to come to your school, which is not a traditional school for a number 2 overall prospect, and then you leave before he even gets there. I mean, is that the kind of precedent you want to make? I don't think so. I think he's staying at Colorado.
All right, let's go back to New York, where Daniel Jones says it's all on me.
I take full responsibility for my part in not bringing more wins. Of course, this season has been disappointing for all, and of course, I wish I could have done more. I'm 100% accountable for my part. I did not play well enough, consistently enough, to help the team get the results.
I am not reading this.
I was going to say, is he reading off a prompter?
Yeah, I mean, where did he go to school? He went to Duke, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he should be able to read better than that. Bert says that don't believe everything you're hearing in the media about the team being upset about that. He's saying that he's hearing that there was some people in that locker room that were disappointed in Daniel Jones' performance.
That throwback, that reverse pass that he was talking about during Jones' last game where there were 2 receivers wide open in the middle of the field and he took a sack. Apparently that was the last straw.
Thanksgiving is saved. We have Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito.
Oh, Tommy DeVito, his agent speaking up, who is a local guy by the name of Sean
Stellato.
Thank you.
Yep.
What did Sean Stellato have to say about Tommy DeVito?
And like Frank Sinatra said, the best is yet to come.
Did you know Tommy DeVito is Italian?
No way!
Yes. And I don't know if his agent is or not, but Tommy DeVito is Italian, and he is available for your deli. He will show up for a few
pizzeria.
$1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you might book him at a certain rate and then find out later that rate has gone up exponentially, and then you have to backtrack on that and save some face. But he is available for a variety of openings and tastings, handshakings.
So the Giants are tanking the season, is all you need to know.
What do you think would happen if you told Tommy DeVito's mom that his chicken cutlets were just okay at the tailgate?
Oh, you can't do that.
Chicken cutlets are a Italian staple, and Danny DeVito and Tommy DeVito is Italian, and he lived at his mom's house, who's Italian.
He still does.
And she would make Italian food for him.
She makes his bed.
Oh, yeah, I don't think Tommy DeVito is spending a lot of time in that house.
Probably
I want the bolognese!
That's right, Joe. That's right.
All right, and since Kendra is here, we'll first allow you to take a victory lap on any big recent wins you've had, games that you called correctly. I don't know if it was last night, Monday night, anything good lately?
I actually was going to take a victory lap on you for making fun of me last week for taking the under in the Titans and Vikings game, because that hit.
I don't remember making fun of you about that, but sounds
about Hardy.
Yeah, no, it sounds like that tracks. Okay.
So I do have another under this week. We just haven't talked about it yet.
I had an opinion on the total in the Vikings.
You
Titans
just laughed
game.
at me.
I've had a guy that at a bar or a restaurant twice say to me, he goes, "What do you think about the who Cleveland played? Not last night. Cleveland played New Orleans."
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like, what
yeah,
do you think
yeah,
about
yeah.
the Cleveland New Orleans game? And I'm like, what? I think that you have a gambling problem. All right, go ahead. What do you got, Kendra?
I was going to say,
There's no way you had Cleveland last night.
No, I didn't bet on the game last night.
Okay. I heard a guy-
A lot of people had Cleveland last night, though.
Yeah, there was a guy on the radio that was going on and on about how the weather was going to be
Yep.
bad and never underestimate that rivalry
Yep.
with Cleveland at home. And he had me wanting to bet on it, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, so I was going to give 2 big tips before I get into who I have this week. One of them being that it is officially, obviously, cold weather season. Unders have been hitting like crazy this year. So if you're thinking about gambling, make sure you're checking the weather in some of these, colder cities. Just because we're there, it's the time of year where snow plays a factor, icy rain plays a factor. There's a lot of tape on players. And then the other thing is that if you're gambling in college football, it is about to be rivalry week, which is so hard to say. So it's time to start looking ahead to next week if you're gambling on college football this week. That being said, my big bets this week, the under in the Ravens-Chargers game, the Harbaugh Bowl. I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side. Obviously, both of these teams are great, but they're not going to run it up if they do. The other thing is the Chargers defense is awesome, and the season unders are trending. I think that is the way to go here.
I like that play number 1. The total I have is 50.5.
Still like it.
Oh no, but you're saying under.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it just starting with the total, not knowing.
Yep.
A whole lot else about it if you're going to make me pick one side or the other.
Yep.
But
I think that is my best bet of the week. The other thing that I'm going to rock with, and some people might think that this is nuts and too cute, but I'm going to go with the Panthers to cover 11 against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are obviously coming off of that loss last week. The Panthers are coming off of a bye. Bryce Young maybe seems to kind of be finding his feet again. Happy Chuba, happy life. He got a contract and had a huge game over in Germany. And NFL spreads aren't the same as college. This number just feels a little big. We don't see what happened to Jacksonville with the Lions last week very often. I think that this number is just a little too big. I know.
Okay, normally I hate
everything.
I hate laying double digits in the NFL, period. It just scares me. College is a whole different, obviously, conversation. In this case, though, I don't know that Kansas City is pissed off about what happened in Buffalo, but but I do think they're going to be out to reassert themselves, and what better team to do it against?
I agree with you, but I just think that this isn't the Kansas City we're used to. We're not seeing them win these huge, Kansas City should probably have 3 or 4 losses at this point. This isn't the same team anymore, and it's showing us, yes, they're a great team. It's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They're getting through all these injuries that they've had, but if they're going to win, it's going to be because of those two. They're not covering spreads by an insane number. It just feels like this is a good spot for the Panthers. I think Kansas City wins this game by a touchdown, maybe 10 points, but I think 11 points is just too many. And I think it's going to probably move again. So if this is something that you like, I get it. That being said, I have it's a great college football week this week.
Okay.
Indiana is getting 10 points against Ohio State.
I don't care for that coach of Indiana.
But you're sold that Indiana can stay with this team.
I can, yeah. I get that Ohio State is probably not the most bullish team that we've seen of theirs in a long time, but I think that helps Indiana, especially the fact that they are playing to stay undefeated. I think Ohio State wins this game, but they have Michigan on deck. Obviously, Michigan's not the team that they were last year, but it's nothing to shake your head at just because it's going to be, the kitchen sink game for them. That's their Super Bowl next week.
I think Ohio State is going to absolutely kill Indiana, because you have to run up the score, because you have to impress the bowl committee. Here are Indiana's wins: FIU, Western Illinois. They killed UCLA. Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, and Michigan.
I think that helps them, though, because they're healthy. And Ohio State hasn't really impressed me outside of the Penn State game. That's genuinely their really only true win. They lost to Oregon. Outside of that, their schedule has also been a cakewalk. So I don't really love that argument.
They lost to Oregon by a point, and Oregon's by far the best team in the nation.
Agree, but that's what I'm saying, is that is their only their only signature win is that Penn State game, and Penn State beat them. Penn State beat themselves in that game.
Yeah. Penn State had an opportunity to win that game and lost. I just think at this, let's see what Indiana does against real competition. That scares me. It frightens me, Kendra.
My other two this week, my favorite college football play is going to be Florida to cover 11.5 against Ole Miss. It's in the swamp. Florida should have upset Tennessee, but they had some quarterback issues. But DJ Lagway, the better I think that he's better than Graham Mertz, who was the transfer from Wisconsin to Florida. I think he's the better option for them. Billy Napier is obviously coaching for his job, so I think that is the best bet in college football this week. I think Ole Miss wins that game, but you're not going to go to the swamp and beat the Gators like that. They should have a better record than they do had they not had some quarterback trouble. And then I'm also going to take SMU to cover 9.5 against Virginia, because I'm a firm believer that you can, in fact, buy a college football playoff team. And that is exactly what SMU did.
Yeah, in the 80s, too. When they got Dickerson, they paid him like $20 million in 1981 to go to SMU. They got the death sentence.
Death penalty, yes.
Yeah, SMU. They cheated.
Yep. They got Dickerson and Craig James.
Lions.
Craig James is really annoying.
Pony Express, Fred.
I know.
Lions 7.5-point favorites at Indianapolis.
I don't think that's high enough.
I don't think that's high enough either.
I don't think it's high enough either.
And Anthony Richardson. What do you guys think about him? This whole quarterback debacle that they've got. I think it was the wrong move to put Flacco in, but it feels kind of like a disaster. I did have him for an anytime last week plus 210 though. So
well, he played well against overall. He played well against the Jets,
I'll take a victory lap on that one, Hardy. How about that?
Okay.
He played well against the Jets, which means that he's incredibly good.
But that's what I said last week, was that mobile quarterbacks have played well against the Jets. That's why I took that Anthony Richardson anytime last week, was because they're a team you can run on.
And he got 2, I believe. Detroit,
even without Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, they're handling business.
They're a well-coached team, which is not the same thing with the Jets.
They draft well. Their drafting the last couple of years has been tremendous.
Well, yeah, and then they coach up talent. I mean, it's a perfect situation in Detroit right now, and it's the last year they're going to have it. I really hope they win the Super Bowl this year, because it's going to be
loose.
Huh?
Stay loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay loose.
Because I do think that Aaron Glenn's going to go to the Jets, and Ben Johnson might stay. They pay him a lot of money, so he might want to stay. I guess he loves Detroit.
He wanted to stay last year because he got calls to get a head coaching job last year, and he said that he wanted to stay. But I don't think that he can stay another year, just because if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, you got to take the money and run.
You know what? I might stay if they were like, here's I think he makes like $3 million a year. If they said like, here's $4.5 million. And all the pressure's off, and I just have to be the offensive coordinator, I'd stay that. But he needs to be a head coach.
Gee, I know. Well, these coaches have itches they can't scratch.
I know, but it's just maybe he's not that guy.
According to AI overview on Google, he is searching for $15 million per year as a head coach.
Oh.
You know, at a certain point, Kendra, you would buy your freedom. You know?
Hell yeah.
If you get
I'm not above it.
Yeah.
I am not above it. I think the Lions, I can't touch the Lions this week just because it feels like a spot where they kicked ass last week and I'm still bitter about it, so I can't get to the well.
That's right. You're that rivalry, the Jacksonville-Detroit rivalry is
that
hot.
How have the Jags not fired Doug Peterson?
Because what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
I have a theory that they're not cleaning house because we saw what happened with Antonio Pierce last year and how he earned his keep, and I don't think that was the plan. So I don't think that they want that to happen.
Players are going to riot if they fire Doug Peterson?
Well, no, I just don't think that they want Nielsen to earn his keep and have to give him a job. So they're just going to keep everybody, fire him after the end of the year, and when Bill's media contracts are done, Belichick head coach of the Jags.
Wow. So you can be in mediocrity for the
correct. I hate it. I said on Twitter that if they hire him, I'm out. I'm a Lions fan.
Really?
Yeah.
You would just drop the Jaguars. You could do that.
I did when they hired Urban Meyer. I did the same thing.
You know what?
I stopped going to games.
Jordan, if you're listening, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, I make an announcement like, you know what, when high school players announce with the hat,
steal his
what
phone in the
school
middle
they're
of
gonna
the
go?
Dress him up in a furry costume.
You're on the right track, but here's the deal. Take him to a fair and have him put a little black nose on him with some whiskers and get him all dolled up like a jaguar, and then be talking like a video where you're talking, and then he pops up with the jaguar and he goes,
and jaguar.
He goes, jaguar.
She could steal his phone in the middle of the night and make like a social media post that he's.
Well, somehow that ring camera action got out. All right, we'll be back. Kendra, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for the help at Pucks and Paddles. You did a tremendous job. We will be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines. sandwiches. Have lunch with a legend this week, D'Angelo's legendary number 9 sandwich, grilled sirloin chicken smothered in onions, peppers, mushrooms, and American cheese. Only at D'Angelo. And we are also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. All right, what's going down, Hardy, in the streets? You tell me as we wrap up this magical week.
We really didn't talk much about the Celtics' visit to the White House other than finding out that Cedric Maxwell did not attend.
If you're emailing us about what Cedric said about how he wouldn't go to the White House, what do you want us to do about it exactly? Like, why are you complaining to us? What do you want us to do? To tell Cedric to change his mind? That's fascinating to me. Like, email Cedric. Don't email me. I got like 17 emails from people mad, and I'm like, "What? All right, Cedric Maxwell. What do you want me to do? Cedric Maxwell won't go to the White House. What do you want out of me?"
As much as you think you and I might not care about that, email Cedric, find out how much someone really doesn't care about your thoughts on his thoughts.
You want to be ignored quick?
Like
send him an email and stand
Maxwell's...
by your phone waiting for a response.
Like that'd be like, hey, I own a pizza place, and Cedric Maxwell says he doesn't like pizza. You tell him that pizza's great. Why? No. What do you want out of me? Stop it. You heard something you didn't like. It's his opinion. What do you want out of us?
No, Cedric was presenting, or was he was something with D. Brown yesterday.
He was presenting D. Brown at the Tradition.
That's what it was.
I have a signed D. Brown Reebok pump.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You sell it?
It's in Milo's room. He has it showcased, even though he has no idea who D. Brown is.
Of course. But the rest of the Celtics organization was there, and Joe Biden was, he was having some fun.
Well, welcome to the White House. I didn't know any of these guys behind me, but they just showed up. I don't know where the hell they came from.
He does know.
Get a little Menino in him.
He knows.
You
He
think
knows
he knows?
this. He knows.
I got a
You think he knows?
He knows they are the Boston Celtics.
Oh.
You just listen.
2024 NBA champions, the You're Celtics, right? The Boston Celtics.
Lean into the age thing. That's what he's doing. That's comedy.
Yeah.
Not just any champion, but the winningest franchise in league history, and now with a record 18 titles.
Yay!
I don't
Please
read
have a
about
seat if you
politics.
have one. You don't have to keep standing.
Is he super pissed off at the Democratic Party because they pulled his gig? I don't read about politics. I'm asking. Is he
probably not as pissed off as the Democratic Party is as a whole at him?
Yes, I think the reverse is true.
Yeah, but they had to know. I mean, he's the president. It's not like he's, Osama bin Laden living in a cave and they have no access to him. I mean, he's a fairly public figure. You would assume that the responsibility does not so much lie with Biden.
Looking back at it, I wonder what the abject panic was in the Democratic Party leading up to that first debate.
It's not like no one had talked to him before that debate. That's the thing. That's fascinating to me.
You've talked to him before the debate. You know it's coming. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, like what
I
did
can
you
only
think?
imagine. What do you cross your fingers and close your eyes?
Yeah, if the car won't start 5 days before the race and you don't do anything to fix it, it ain't started on race day, baby. Yeah. And then you can't blame the car. Like, why would they be mad at him? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, hey, you're old. Like, yeah, dude, what do you want me to do about it?
No, I think they're mad at him because for months and months he said, no, I'm running again. I'm running again.
Yeah, but you could have talked about it. I mean, have a primary. Have a primary, like a real primary with real competition. I mean, they could have done that. They could have done that. And you know what? If they would have done that, maybe they would have won the election.
Biden further ingratiated himself not only to the Celtics team, but Boston, the entire region, really.
Let me just say, all of you may not know this, but my Secret Service name is Celtic, for real, because I'm Irish. Everybody behind me is Irish in their heart. I feel a special pride in this trophy. For this old Irish Celtic, to all you Celtics, congratulations.
It's about some time someone Irish celebrated that
speechwriter sat back from his desk and dropped the mic.
Yeah,
he did.
If you're in Brighton right now, you're very excited. I'll tell you this. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, he brought Joe Mazzulla in on the fun, too.
Coach Joe, I used to like Joe. Joe's the youngest head coach to win a title since the great Bill Russell. I told him I used to be the youngest, now I'm the oldest. I like being the youngest better.
Oh, all right, I'll tell you this. I remember what I was going to say. Do you remember the AV Club?
Yeah.
The Onion. No, the Onion. The Onion used to have, when Joe Biden was president or vice president, columns written as Joe Biden, where he was this Delaware like Hesher. There was a book that came out that I own. They're brilliant.
They're great.
Joe's like this Hesher from Delaware, and he's talking about how he's pulling scams and stuff.
And he gets kicked out of every Dave & Buster's. That's like one of the going bits. It's like he's like banned nationwide. He's not allowed to go to Dave & Buster's anymore.
Yeah, the guy who was writing them, it was like almost. Now let's not go crazy, but almost to dad boner levels of entertainment.
Same genre. Yeah. Very, very entertaining. Good pull on that.
Yeah, you can, and those are still available, I'm sure.
All right, let's get into weekend plans
I'll
for
bring
Adam.
a book in for you, Adam.
Weekend plans for Adam 12.
Yes,
who we like to plan his weekend for him based on, will this cost him anything? So what will Adam 12 do this weekend? To Boston.com we go.
We have 4 minutes because another meeting's been held about me.
Yeah, getting
and
out.
I don't know about it.
3:45, 3:40.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
We got to get out by 55 or it's an inconvenience for the television.
Dust off your ice skates. Frog Pond not open for skating just yet, but you can still hit the ice at Warrior Ice Arena in Brighton.
That's money. That's definitely money.
Continue. Is that it?
You can rent skates, but you can bring your own skates, so that wouldn't cost you anything.
I don't have any skates. I'm out on that.
Yeah, and it's gonna. Damn, it's not a touchscreen anymore. I talked to Steve about this.
We need a.
It doesn't work at all.
Am I right or wrong? Is it free or not?
It is not free. It is
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah, I can't imagine Warrior Ice Arena is doing
Gonna
anything
need
for
you
free.
for one of these things here later on 12.
Sure.
That probably needs to be a touchscreen. I'm just
I went down to talk to Steve. He knows he's.
I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm just saying
Oh, no,
I would
he's
imagine
not.
that you need
Yes.
a touch.
Level up your Friendsgiving plans. Skip the stress of cooking and cleanup. Instead,
What if you don't have any friends?
head to Capo in Southie for its 3-course Friendsgiving dinner.
I don't like
now,
that.
These are just friends getting together. How could this cost anything?
What, the 3-course meal?
Yeah.
It's obviously free.
Sorry, it's $50 for the Friendsgiving. How about this?
Do you guys do friends? Yeah, well, you do, Hardy. You do Friendsgiving.
Yeah, but
Nick does it. Nick's real proud
I
of it, too.
abhor
He
the term
loves it.
Friendsgiving, but we had ours last weekend. Yes.
I do not.
You know what? On Thanksgiving, I am seeing 2 friends of mine in Detroit. How about that?
That's very nice.
Who would have thought I have 2 friends in the same place at the same time? I don't know if it's a massive inconvenience.
But you're
for
not.
both of them.
Are you seeing them on Thanksgiving?
I am. I'm seeing one at the Lions game with his family, and I'm going to be with my kids, and I'm seeing, and my friend Jay always comes down.
All right.
And then we make out in front of everyone.
Cozy up with a DIY blanket.
Cozy Pal, man. He used to keep it real with Deep Purple.
Hell yeah, in the pocket.
You be in the pocket, baby.
No knitting needles are required at Craft Loft's Chunky Throw Blanket Making Class.
Well, this is Adam's event.
Oh, I like a cozy blanket.
On November
You said cozy.
22nd,
That's a punch.
2-hour class, show you the ropes on a hand knitting soft chenille yarn into a gorgeous throw that looks and feels amazing on both your couch and lap.
Okay, sounds like something that costs money, but they're going to be very disappointed.
I bet it's
when they open the
but
doors.
DIY material. Bring your own materials, maybe, and that cuts down on the
Chenille?
cost. a
How
little
about
bit.
this? $75, 12. You ain't going.
Yeah, that sounds like they open the doors and wait.
And
There's 18 different buzzers in here, and I'm scared to play
Just
one of them.
don't,
'cause
just
I
don't worry
think
about
it's
it.
the
There's
wrong
a minute
And
left.
finally, the easiest
We've
one
done
ever.
a sensational week already.
Help local families put dinner on the table. It's the season of giving. Alston Brighton Food Pantry doing exactly that, giving away turkeys and groceries. Anyone can celebrate and
Can you
volunteer.
sheepishly stand in front, pacing to and fro,
Now you're speaking
and,
my language.
and wondering if you can morally get in?
As a volunteer, am I allowed to take one of these? Volunteers to greet guests, make food baskets. Yes, Adam 12 will be attending. That is Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m.
So you were going to the food pantry?
I've done that in the past. Yes, volunteered. Yeah.
Did you ever go to the one in Newton? It's at the Trinity Church.
No, I haven't.
That's the big
Neither have I.
leagues.
Sorry.
Neither have I. All right.
All right, that's it.
Well, listen, NBC Sports Boston, we are going to make this incredibly convenient for you and not
My
go
goodness. Very beautiful feet and pretty good toes. I love them.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend.
We needed to play that. You know what? Play it again after I say my bye. Everyone, enjoy yourselves this weekend. You know, stay safe. Thanksgiving's just around the corner. That'll do it for us. Bye.
Enjoy your